Hey, hey, hey. Only overseas. This is how a can't even spell Prague. I just realized there's no word in that sentence that I can actually say. But imagine Nicki Minaj with hair down to her ankle, turning around and saying, "Y'all can't even spell Prague." That's the mood. That's the mood forever. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Themis and Thoth. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking. Go and get that. Um, so apparently there's a forest fire happening in Canada, and you can tell that the air isn't good because I have pimples all over. I went to my dermatologist, and they're like, "Yeah." So um, the air is just polluted, and you can tell from my skin, and I don't know how to protect my I don't know how to I don't know how to protect myself. So yeah, I'm getting pimples, and I'm trying to stay. I got a purifier, an ear purifier, and I'm trying to like not go outside, but I have to go to the gym. Sinji said there were, hey Sinji, welcome, warmest of welcomes. There were also alien sightings in Vegas. Wait, what? It was on mainstream. Wait, un momento, por favor. Let me go check this out. Sorry, let me look. Wait, UFO landed in Las Vegas. The end is near. Is it near or is it here? Because what do you mean? Oh my God, have I been under a rock? I mean, Donald Trump was charged with federal crimes, but like I didn't even realize because it was like I thought it was the thing about Stormy Daniels and paying her off, the charges that came out of New York. But no, these are about classified documents. So I missed that until like yesterday. And then today, now you're telling me that there's UFO. Oh my God. Yeah, let me drink my mud water because, period, I'm just going to go out and start buying things and having fun. Oh, no, absolutely. I am going to go out. It's, I don't know if it's fake or not, but it's on like major news sites. Um, so, um, all right, let me settle down because, like, I'm very into like the alien, the idea that we're not the only species to have lived and is living, even if not in this galaxy. But the idea that within our solar system, maybe there's no life other than what's on Earth. But when we're talking about our galaxy, I doubt that. But then, not just our galaxy with all the planets, but other solar systems, like and other galaxies. Like I'm sitting here, like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure there are other beings. I'm pretty sure there are other beings. I just want to know if we're the most advanced and if they're good or bad. That's the only question I wanted and I want answered because you're not going to convince me that we just are the only we are the only beings. You just not gonna convince me of that. Like I don't care if I never see them. You're not gonna convince me of that. I'm very much into aliens and I'm excited about these sightings. I am excited, but my excitement is with a lot of fear. Um, I'm so mad because I want to include this in today's show, but I literally didn't even know this until you said it. Um, all right. Let's continue. I'm gonna continue because I after this I'm just gonna go down a rabbit hole of like look. After this, I'm going down a rabbit hole. Like I'm literally going down a rabbit hole after this. Because a period, I've been waiting. I've been waiting for the moment that aliens came up and say, "Yeah, we're about to take over." I hope they're friendly. Mm. All right. A couple of things. I said before every live stream, I would say this. If you go to the community tab, there is a link to sign up for the debate. Anyone can sign up for the debate. It does not matter who you are. If moderators are signing up for the debate, I will tell them not to. The only people who cannot are moderators. We are very arrogant to think that we are the only humanoid life in this universe. Agreed, but I don't know if it has to be humanoid, actually. But I am curious. Someone said aliens took black. y'all play, y'all play entirely. Y'all play entirely too much. Um, I'm very curious. Anywho, go to the community tab, uh, click the link in the community tab to sign up for the debate. Again, the winner gets $1,000 and 500 of which will be going to a charity of their choice. Second place gets $500 and 200 of which will go to a charity of their choice. I mean, now that we have aliens on Earth, maybe none of this will matter. We're having forest fires. My skin is breaking out. It's just a mess. It's all a mess. Um, Thank you, Sinji, and thank you to everyone. Now, Donald Trump. How do I start this? I'm putting this in the beginning because I need people. Drop a one if you're a Republican. Drop a one if you're a Republican and a two if you're a Democrat. Sorry, should have muted. Drop a one if you're Republican and a two if you're a Democrat. I just want to see what this channel is made of because I'm looking for my Republican correspondence and my Democratic correspondence and also my independents, right? I want for the coming election, I want us all to come up and you guys will be watching independently the debates and whatever is happening, and you will come with those clips so that we can debate and engage in political discourse. This stream will not be about politics except for the beginning. So here's the beginning. If you're bringing federal charges against a former president, I hope, I don't know what's in these documents. I don't know how you are going to prove intent. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is this better be good. It better be good because one of the issues with someone said I'm muted. Wait, let me check. Oh my god. No, I hope I'm not muted. It does not look like I'm muted. It does not look like I'm muted. Y'all been begging aliens to come pick them up on TikTok. Someone is listening to women. Oh, someone. So I'm not muting. I can hear. All right, cool. All right, so the idea that you can rise from the ash and sort of subvert expectation, the idea that you can triumph in the face of everyone against you is Donald Trump's bread and butter. Don't, if you want him to lose, don't give it to him, right? Because if you bring these charges up and you fail, he is going to use that and it's just going to add further ammunition against everyone against him, right? So I think that is my just general caution. All right. Why Donald Trump have classified document at Mar-Lago? Can someone explain to me why Donald Trump has classified documents at Mar-a-Lago that he's going to claim he declassified, but we'll see what Donald Trump has to say after. The only reason I'm saying that is he literally dragged Hillary Clinton, right? Saying Hillary, lock her up. She deleted and threw away, destroyed documents on her server and blah, 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 blah. How are you going to end up in the same position that you wanted Hillary in? Anywho, and this is not caping for Hillary because no, but it's weird to see that that's what they caught you on. Like, it is so weird to see. So, Politico has a diagram which they don't put the names on, but it doesn't matter because I know these people. And if I don't know them, I'll give them my own name. All right. So, let me show you a screen because the charges against Donald Trump is fascinating. It is important. The question of whether or not that's going to incite the base to rally behind him is very obvious, yes. But the question about his political opponents on the right, what they're going to do with this information and how they're going to approach him is very, very interesting because they still want to court his base. They cannot, in my opinion and estimation, they can't really push too forcefully against Donald Trump. They can't really drag Donald Trump because they've made a deal with the devil and now they're in bed with the devil and can't get up. And it's an interesting position to be in because if they drag him too much, they lose his base. If they lose his base, they lose the they lose the election. So it is a fascinating position for the Republicans to be in. Like, are you going to oppose Donald Trump? Are you going to disavow him? And will it be that you do that? He beats these charges, and now you have to run behind him and apologize, like, I don't know, Ted Cruz did, even after Donald Trump dragged Ted Cruz and his whole family. Anywho, more to that later. Let me push this on the screen for y'all. Because there's two people that I care about on the right, as it relates to their interest in Donald Trump. Will the aliens take black men and really took black men out of the home? Wait, let me show you. Let me show you. Da-da-dam. All right. So ignore the wannabes at the bottom. Like, ignore the wannabes at the bottom because it's a no, right? So here we have Nikki Giovanni, Pence, DeSantis, and Trump, right? So as I am aware of right now, DeSantis has declared, yeah, the word declare is up there. DeSantis declared, we know DeSantis is running. DeSantis has been very intentional about not wanting to disrupt or disturb Donald Trump and Donald Trump's base. So while Donald Trump has been taking shots at DeSantis, DeSantis has not fired back. I think that is interesting because to me it means that he's not about to get into the he's not. No, someone said no. I know it's not Nikki Giovanni. It was supposed to be a joke. It was. I know who Nikki Haley is. Oh my God, not y'all. Y'all please. Anywho, so if I went through all of these names down here, you all would be really mad. But I do love Nikki Giovanni. It's just like I just wanted to say Nikki Giovanni because whatever. Anywho, um, DeSantis has not attacked Trump, at least not as far as I am aware, at all. Trump has been attacking DeSantis. Nikki has gotten Don Lemon fired because Don Lemon said something about her age, and now Don Lemon has no job, right? Pence is in a very interesting situation. Pence is really because he was the vice president, everyone is asking him what he thinks about Trump. Pence does not have a base on his own. Pence Pence, for all intents and purposes, requires Trump. But he is going against Trump if he declares. The issue is, even if he declares and he's overtly going against Trump, it does not make any sense for him to attack him overtly at all because he does need Trump. And if Trump drops out of the race, he is going to need Trump to be behind him, pushing him forward. So it is going to be a very interesting debate. I really, really want to see the first Republican debate. That is why when that is happening, we might go live and stream and get copyright strikes because I think it is important that we watch the first debate because I want to see how hard they're going to go at Trump because Trump is now an insider. Trump cannot in any way claim that he's an outsider going into DC. He's going to change things up. You've been there for 4 years and you did nothing. So it is interesting to watch. And I just like seeing these politicians fight each other with their hands tied behind their back because none of them can really fight Trump. And it would be interesting to see if one of them breaks away and just go full on attack on Trump. Like I want to see which of these people are going to go full force against Donald Trump, call him out for all of his hypocrisy, call him out for all of his charges. He's the first president. There's a lot of firsts for Donald Trump, but federal charges is a new height for an ex-president, right? So I think it is interesting. I want to see it. The impeachment, they have so much to drag him on, and the fact that no one is dragging him means that they are afraid. Now, Nikki Haley, not Giovanni, and I am sorry for people who were upset. I am sorry. This is what I do with names, and so I to remember her name. That's what I had to do. I don't really put too much stock into the wannabes at the bottom. Don't really care unless I move them up. I won't be talking about them. Chris Christie, girl, you tried it last time. It didn't work. I don't care. Um, Larry Elder is up there, like, ugh, like, yeah, just ugh. Anywho, all right. So that's the political talk. Welcome everyone. Wait, Larry Elder just. Ooh, I feel like I should talk about Larry Elder, but I don't want to, so I won't. I don't know Perry Johnson. Vivek is a YouTube personality who's become big because he debated Don Lemon, and Don Lemon apparently don't know things about history. So whatever. I don't know if I've ever really gotten into Tim Scott. Have I gotten into Tim Scott? I don't think so. There's not much to get into. And that's about it in terms of people I know. I don't know if Marco Rubio is going to run again. Probably not. Like, yeah, I'm looking at I am looking at the Republican side of things, and it's really strange because I don't really see any real contenders outside of DeSantis and Trump, which is saying a lot. I don't think anyone is going to run against Biden. I don't see that, but Biden is like really. Can Biden win another race? Y'all think Biden can win another race? Because like last time I saw Biden, he was falling out on stage. Like the last time I saw Joe Biden, he was falling out on stage. So I don't know. And Kamala's ratings aren't great. But I don't think anyone would want to disrupt the incumbency privilege that the current president, has when they're running. So I don't know if they would put anyone against Biden on the Democratic front. Um, oh, actually, let me stop thinking out, because Cornel West also announced that he was running as an independent. I want to say I will be watching that, but the truth is I won't. I really respect Carnell West. I respect his brilliance. I think he is a tremendous academic. I could listen to him talk all day because I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but more than whether I agree or not, he critiques the left and the right equally. And I think that he is really, really smart. And while I don't fully always agree with him, I like really smart people. um, I don't know. I like Cornel West, but I mean, he's just running to run. I think to put his ideas at the forefront. I don't think he's running thinking I am going to win. I think he's running to like push his ideas forward. So we'll see where that goes. I probably should check in on Cornel West because I would probably be one of the only people who will be talking about Cornel. Ah, he is really smart, though. You guys should listen to some of his lectures. All right. I think we can end the political part of this there. Please note the political segments will get longer and longer as we get into the election. I need for people to sign up to be like my correspondents. It will be where you guys get to come up and debate. I will only be doing three people, sorry, per live stream where we have a segment. If you're an independent, Republican, and Democrat, I need three separate. So a lot of repeat players if there's not a lot of Republicans, if there's not a lot of Democrat, if there's not a lot of independent, it might switch out. And if I find people that I really like and who are doing the research, then it might just be a constant sort of trio. So that's that on that. Welcome everyone. I saw Sober Bobo. Someone said I like Miriam Williamson. She said the dark underbelly of America. I was done. Done. Miriam. Oh. Welcome everyone, and I am going to hit the intro, and we're gonna get into it. Yep. So, I have, as I said, we would start with comments. And I wanted to start with a very particular comment that I received. And I think it's an interesting comment. Because, look, so I made a short, and this comment right here that you probably can see said, it said, this lady is 100% correct. This a wife right here. He said, this a wife right here. Now, I did go to his channel, but there's nothing of interest there. But let's hear what he said is a wife. Because I think we need to. This is a wife. This is what he said is correct and is a wife. Ready?
Also, but her truly her.
All right. So a wife is someone who, go ahead,
is submissive to her husband. You know, she got the and it's almost as if you're a slave to your husband, but you're not being. When I explain this, because that is what people are, making it seem like. A wife can be independent also, but her truly her title is to be a homemaker. You know what I'm saying? Because I am a wife, and I've been a wife for years.
You're currently a wife?
Yes, I am.
You said a slave?
No, I'm not saying to be a slave. That's what people look at as. Women these days don't know how to be submissive to their husbands. They think they got to be independent. or you know,
All right. So there's a lot I want to talk about, but I was on TikTok, and the reason I decided that I am going to use this, the reason I decided that I wanted to talk about this is because a lot of people, women included, have internalized what it means to quote unquote be submissive. The point at which you're slipping up and you're saying it's kind of like being a slave, that's the problem, right? Like, there should be no position where you are describing yourself and your role, particularly something that you want to be a part of, something that you want to be. There's no reason you should describe it as kind of like slavery. Absolutely none. Like, it should not be a slave. Slavery should not be anywhere close in your mind when you're discussing that which you are aspiring to be and that which you are telling other people that they should aspire to be. So now begins the hard work of deconstruction that I'm not about to do. You guys are going to have to do that on your own. I am sorry, I cannot help you there, because this very this we're going to watch this again, but it feels like it's in line with what this gentleman is about to talk about, right? So I'm going to play a young man on, I don't know if he's young or old, I can't tell. But he was on TikTok and he was talking about the three things that women can and should do. Now, I'm going to pause right here and say, I don't believe in any of this. I don't believe in a submission of women. I don't believe women are inferior, particularly when in my own life, I've seen women rise to the highest levels within even my occupation. Some of the people that I look up to in terms of the intellect and their ability to lead are women. But if you're a woman and you believe that you should be submissive and you should find a king and blah blah blah, period. That's on you. This live stream might not be for you because no. I not only do I disagree with it, it is ridiculous when you look around the community, when you look around the world and you realize, you know what, maybe some of these people, men, aren't the best leaders, right? The fact that you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I need a man to steer the ship for me. Okay, period. Do you? Won't tell you what to do because I don't give advice. But I don't know why black women continue to allow black men to weaponize these miserable marriages. Okay, me either. Me either. But let's hear what this gentleman with the yellow teeth had to say about marriages, about women.
See, listen, man, women were made only for three things. They were made to obey me.
There's still time to delete this.
Now, there are two types of men, I think. Before I actually didn't mean to play that video, but it's fine. I can deal with this video. There are two types of men. There are men who say women are meant to serve. They look like one of those guys, and there are other guys who are like, don't put me in that foolishness. There's those types of men. All right. But before I continue and play him, I actually do need to play the thing about what women were meant to do. He said, there are three types of women. There are three things that women should do. They should obey their husbands. So if you don't have a husband, I don't know what that means. They should reproduce and they should take care of their children. Those are the only three things. There's a copyright thing popping up on my filter, so I'm not going to play the video because apparently he has music on the background. Those were his three things. So he's getting dragged all over TikTok. Like, when I say he's getting dragged all over TikTok, he's getting dragged all over TikTok. So he made another video about protecting black men, and I think it's important that the manosphere is quickly radicalizing me against bald men. Balding man. So let's hear what he has to say. Let me put this up.
We need rights just like the LGBTQ got. The black man is a protected minority class. We need rights just like the LGBTQ got. We want our own rights. As of today, the black man is a protected minority class. We're protected. So I want our rights. I don't want nobody talking about black men or you're gonna get canceled. We are canceling anyone who speaks on the black man. That includes black women.
Now you will think, okay, then what is his channel about? His channel is the entirety of his channel is essentially dragging black women. Husbands want submissive. Now, I know what you're thinking. The jokes about hairline, the jokes about phantom follicles, the joke about teeth, the joke about yellow, the joke about the dentist, all of that could be true. But I think more importantly, we should be discussing the fact that women have actually internalized a lot of this message, not from him, because I don't see women going to him for much, but I do think we have a culture, and we've been talking about the culture, that tells women, and women have internalized it, that their usefulness is to be married, to have children, and to take care of said children, right? And while I don't fault women for wanting that life, and I'm not telling you you shouldn't, none of this is advice. Please get ready to drag me. You will get the link and come up here when you want, and you can disagree. I think this undermines what your capacity is. I think it undermines the true reality about who is supposed to submit and why. And I don't think any gender should submit to another. I think the people who do the best work lead in that area that they are best in, and so on and so forth, right? But in any case, women have internalized this so much so that they can come on a panel and slip up and say being a wife is akin to slavery. Let that sink in for 2 seconds and then go on to brag that they are a wife. That is incredibly odd. That is an incredibly odd position to be in, to say that being a wife is like slavery, but not really. It's not like real slavery. You said slavery. You said slavery. What do you mean? I don't care what kind of slavery you mean. I don't care. The point at which you're likening that which you're aspiring to be, that which you want to be, to slavery, that is odd. I didn't understand fully why it bothered me so much that the word slavery would just slip out. But it means that somewhere deep in your psyche, or maybe very consciously, but somewhere inside, you have likened what you need to do as a wife to slavery, to some kind of servitude. That is a problem. That is all I'm going to say on that. But we have more to discuss, so I won't continue on this point. Let me remove her. In the search for submission, people are going around the world. And this is the passport bros, right? It's not just black men, it's also all races of men who are going to find women overseas who are desperate enough to be with them. Because let's be clear, it is a sacrifice to go and be with a man that you don't find attractive because you need resources. And I'm not faulting the women who engage in this behavior, because we all do what we can with what we have to survive. So let's do some critique. And I've been shying away from the passport bro conversation because I didn't want to fully get into it. Went smoother than his scalp. But someone sent me a video And I think it's important that we watch this video because at this point, I think it is clear to everyone that it's not, while one group might engage more in a bad behavior to ignore the reality that a lot of other groups do it would be intellectually dishonest. But I'm just using this as an explanation for a bigger point that I'm about to make. So let's watch what happened when this person who went overseas to a Muslim country, in his mind, to get a wife, what happened. Also, note, apparently, he made a statement that he's not a passport bro, and the idea that there are groups of people that claim to be passport bros is idiotic. So, like, terrible point for that, but it doesn't matter. Let's get into it. He's a white gentleman, from what I can tell, but yeah.
Normally and typically in an Arab household, the man usually is the provider financially, and that's just how it is.
That is just something I wasn't prepared for.
Most Arab women expect that.
Just like most American people expect the woman to contribute half, or not half, just contribute.
But you're not dealing with an American woman.
No, but she'd have to deal with some of my things though too. This was definitely not what I wanted to hear. I thought Moroccan women prioritize family over material things, and I was not anticipating that it would mean I have to be the sole provider for a household. I didn't sign up for this.
There is a cost to tradition, and I don't understand how anyone would be confused as to the price for a quote unquote traditional relationship. Let me explain to you again something that we have all explained before. There is a trade off that occurs when you claim to want tradition in terms of how the patriarchy explains it. One, the woman gives up a lot of her rights in order to be at home and take care of the children, and you, in return, provide all, not some, not majority, but all of the finance needed. That is the trade-off. You go out, toil the earth, come back, and pay for everything. That is the trade-off. Now, what has happened in America is, let's simplify it. Instead of talking about economic improvement, economic changes, the Second World War that had men out of the home and out of the country, requiring women to engage in the labor market, let's ignore all of that and simplify it to feminism. Okay, feminism happened, right? And because of feminism, women entered the workforce. Okay, great. You know what that meant for American and Western men? It meant that women were now helping with the financing bit. Now, do you understand why women are actually, I was going to say taking on the second shift, but that is too deeply feminist writing. But it's true. It is true. So women decided that they were going to lighten the load of men and essentially made it so easy for men that men don't know what to do. So now you are sitting around as a man saying, I want tradition. I want traditional relationship. Okay, do you know what that means? Do you actually know what that means? Because the truth is, and I can say this with a lot of certainty, like over 90% certainty, you can't afford it. You cannot afford it. It is that simple. If you want to think about relationships as transactional, then you've come to the right place, because in that transaction, you are the one offering money. The woman is the one offering everything else. Now, it's interesting because if women started coming online and actually engaging in the conversation, what I'm getting called, and start actually engaging in conversation, y'all gonna get real mad real fast. I said this about a year ago. If women started price tagging everything that they did at home, you gonna be real mad. If women are saying, I deserve more money than you can give because I bring forth life, you gonna be real mad. So actually, in this new bargain, you won. You just don't see that you won because you also want women to quote unquote submit more to you, even after they're helping you. This man admits that in the US, women are expected to contribute. The lady from Morocco, look at him like he was crazy. Like, what do you mean help contribute after I carry the children? What do you mean? This, by the way, is where the passport bros generally comes to mind. These men are talking about wanting traditional. No, what they want is they want traditional relationship at a discount. Because there are plenty of women in America right now who would sign up in a minute to be traditional. You cannot afford it. Point blank, period. There is no ifs, ands, or but about it. You can't afford it. What you can afford is to go to a country that has been ruined by probably Western imperialism that is requiring American dollars to even survive vis-a-vis tourism. What you want to do is you want to go there and barter for $10 for access to these people. And unfortunately, for a lot of these women in particular, they have to acquiesce in order to provide for themselves and their family. And now they're caught in a loop with you. Hopefully, you weren't abusive physically or mentally, but know that you are trading in the way that you're trading because you could not afford it in America. It is not because women aren't traditional, they are traditional women. The trad wife trend is a thing. You can't afford it. You can't even afford to bring these women back. You can't afford to stay there long term, so the likelihood that you will marry these women is absolutely ridiculous. But you said you want traditional, so I'm going to accept that you want traditional. The problem is you can't afford it. And no, it is not Black women specifically that have you leave in America to go overseas to get some woman. It is not. It can't just be Black women because there are other races of women in America. So what you should say is, I have failed with every single group of women in America, therefore I need to go to another country. If you're broke, just say that, and that's fine. Now let's figure out how you can make some money to get what you need over here. Or maybe you partner with someone who you all can build together. I don't give advice, but that sounds more likely because what you want is inappropriate. What you want is a power differential that you did not earn. You want to go to another community where you can compete using the American dollar against the men there because they did not have the kind of access that you have, because in your own country where you had that access, you could not compete. Own it. Now, if a person from a quote unquote so-called third world country comes to the US and is able to compete against you, that is a you problem. But when you're going to another country that is deprived of resources because of Western imperialism, I have to underscore Western imperialism, because these countries are not just doing poorly because they just don't know how to use their resources. They're doing poorly because it was designed that way. You go there and now you are taking resources and competing with these men, thinking that you are doing something. You're not doing anything. You're just on the backs of American imperialism, trading $2 to get access to people who would not look at you twice if they had said resource. Stop. I am very much pro passport bros. I am pro the idea that you can find love wherever you want, but let's admit it, you're not looking for love. You're looking for someone to submit because you couldn't afford it here in the US. It's not even a relationship that you want. You just want access to people who you can wave $2 over their head because you know that they need the money and they have to sacrifice themselves in order to access some kind of resource. That is disgusting. That is what I take issue with. Now, I see a lot of people making videos responding, oh, we are not deprived. We don't need this. It is fine. I won't attack you if you say so. I've lived in Jamaica long enough to understand how sex tourism works. I have seen the reports from the Philippines, Thailand. I know what is happening. We all do. Unfortunately, for a lot of these people, not enough of us care. And that's a problem. And that stops right now. So you will be dragged continuously when you engage in deplorable behaviors overseas. All right, let me read the super chats. Why do males who have such hard time controlling their so-called natural instinct, right, always have an interest in controlling women? They can control themselves. They give the idea that they should be controlled to other groups while telling those groups that they need to submit. Imagine that. Imagine the group you are telling women that women need to control you. Women's behavior will change you. Women control how it is that you operate in the real world, but they should submit to you. That don't make any sense. No sense. None. Zero. It does not make sense. Don't even try to think about it. It doesn't make sense. There is men now crying in the chat as if we care. Muslims are well educated. Any money they earn, they keep according to Islam. Yeah, there was this, under it, there was a common thing. Women who make money, that money is theirs, and then the husband money is the husband and theirs. And I was like, period. They want women to be modern in practice, work, but traditional in mindset, submissive. Yeah, it does not work like that. You have already gotten a huge slice of the patriarchal pie and you want more. No, that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. Someone asked, I was waiting, why would an FAG like you care? Let me say this. The gays are upset. Let me read the super chat and then let's get into a conversation about why the quote unquote gays are upset. Demas, do you begrudge poor men for immigrating for marriage? Six figures is really nothing much nowadays. Some men truly might have to immigrate. No, you don't have to immigrate. You can partner with people. If you're specifically wanting submission, that is a very disgusting thing to do. What is happening is these men cannot even afford to take care of those people in the countries that they're going to take them here and take care of them. So they spend some time over there, and when things get hot in those countries, they move back. All right, so let me get into the gay thing, because apparently me saying I don't care about your opinion is not clicking. There is a very weird position to have. There is a very weird position to have where there are people who are like, oh my God, there was this guy who's a bigger dude who went off, and I couldn't find it. I think Sinji did a video of it, but I couldn't find it. It's fine. I don't really care. And people are like, why are the gays? Good fences make good neighbors. Gays should stay out of straight people business. Sir, who do you think are the fathers of these gay people? When gay people, men, are being analyzed, who do you think is doing the analyzing? Do you think gay men don't have sisters, mothers, children? I am not sure what's not clicking. It is one of the dumbest, most underdeveloped approach to argumentation to say you are gay, therefore your identity means you don't get to talk about this. No, people don't get to talk about it when you are not abusing them also. What do you mean? I am sitting up here watching this man drag, and y'all are sitting down there talking about oh, isn't he gay? What does he care about how men treat women and how men talk to women? Those are his mother and father. What do you mean? Another argument is that this one came to me directly. Themis, are you trying? Wait. I wait. This is actually kind of funny. Are you trying to divide black men and black women because you want these men? If you think that most gay men have to divide men from women to have the quote unquote straight man, you have absolutely not been paying attention. That is an unfortunate reality. You have absolutely not been paying attention if you think a gay man has to divide black men and black women to have access to these men. Marriage don't even stop these men from engaging with other people. What do you mean divide and conquer? Conquer who? Yeah, listen, these are some of the dumbest takes I've ever heard on live. I don't engage with people who are just like reductive. Like I don't engage with conversation that are low frequency. If you're homophobic, just say that. Say it and get on about your business because I don't care about your opinion. Sorry. All right, let me read some super chats. As a black Muslim American woman, it's obvious he didn't do his research, right? He would have done better trying to get a black Muslim American woman. Unfortunately, we are the ones who accept BS, hence we being happily single. Yeah. Thank you. Women always worked. Even little blonde-haired, blue-eyed children worked in coal mines and sweatshops prior to 1915 labor laws, or even on on farms. Like these people are like frustrating because like you like, oh my god, I wonder why sometimes we do so poorly, and then you hear some people talk and you're like, yeah, that's probably why. Like there are other systemic issues, there are other factors, and I will never hide that or downplay that. But then you hear some people talk and you're like, yeah, no, that makes sense. That tracks. Yeah, that maps on. The intellect, the ways of conversing, and where we are, it is they kind of track. But that is not to negate the importance of systemic issues. I have to put that caveat because I don't want to be dragged in these think pieces, but period. Oh shoot, I'm late. What are we talking about? Absolutely nothing. Um, there are 167 million women in the U.S. and people can't find one. Sad. Yeah, which implies a failure on their part that they don't want to own up to. The DL community took black men out of the home. Period. Like these men literally sit up online talking about the reason he wants blah 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 is because girl, no. Have you not been paying attention? These men are for everyone. sorry. Married or single. Look. They want to sign up for the hair. Period. It is closed. It is closed. We are full. We're not accepting applications. All right. I think we've beaten this one down to the ground. I did have something that I wanted to say, but let's talk about the nice guy. Because the nice guy frustrates me to no end. They frustrate me. I don't like a self-described nice guy. I don't. I don't. I don't care for it. Because they always aren't that nice and they want a brown. Here's a cookie, girl. You're nice. Like, what do you mean? Like, here's how bad it is. Before I play this video, here's what I hate. When people are like, women are like, oh my God, I like nice guys. And men are like, I've been nice. I've just been hanging on and I've been your friend and you friend zone me and blah, 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 blah. Okay, girl. Maybe she's not attracted to you. Maybe she is not attracted to you. You can be as nice as you want to be. She is not obligated to dating you. Saying you like the nice guy does not mean you like every single nice guy. What do you mean? Also, the way you define nice might not be the way she defined nice. Maybe she meant nice with her. Let me leave that alone. All right, so let's watch this together.
Or whatever. I like nice guys, but no, you don't. And women need to stop saying this if it's not true. If there is a nice guy that shows up in front of you, shows you that he's attracted to you, loves you, cares about you, appreciates you, takes good care of you, does right by you, etc., and you don't date him, I don't want to fucking hear it.
I don't want to effing hear it, sir. Her saying she likes nice guys does not mean she likes you. Now, I do feel bad for him because he's getting dragged. I'm not putting that comment on the screen. Y'all play too much. Right. So that comment needs to be deleted. Here's the thing. Nothing that I'm thinking I can say. Like, I cannot say anything that I'm thinking because it would be real wrong and mean and just not great. So let me just hide the chat. Let me do this. Welcome. Miss Tiff, welcome to the membership. Oh, Fairest. Nice guys in the Black community are really just functioning adults. I have a car, job, house, etc. Congrats, you're an adult here. So, Cookie, feeling entitled to women means you're not enough. Yeah, the fact that just the mere idea of being entitled is a problem. So, thank you. There is nothing. How do I put this? It does not matter, again, how nice you are if the person you want is not attracted to you, right? So, like, you saying, sir, don't tell me that you want a nice guy. I don't want to hear it, because if a nice guy shows up to you and is kind to you and you won't date him, it means you don't like nice guys. So, not everyone is attracted to you, right? And this is something that we have to understand. It is important that we contextualize these ideas around how relationships are formed, because that you are nice is not itself sufficient to forming a relationship. That you are nice is actually, for the women who are speaking, necessary. Necessary does not mean sufficient. That a quality is needed does not mean the quality on its own is sufficient. I am sure that a lot of women would also include attractiveness, right? I'm not saying, let me move him from the screen, because I think my words are going to get misinterpreted. If someone is not attracted, this is the best way I can put it. If someone is not attracted to you, you can be as nice as you want. The relationship probably won't work. Now, to be fair, he came back and sort of kind of apologized because he was dragged. He was dragged. Now, when I said, I was saying Twitter, but TikTok gave him no grace, no mercy. It was not there. It could not have been found. Grace and mercy were not allowed. It was nowhere in sight. They dragged him for filth. So he came back. He came back and he apologized. So let me play the apology, because I like to give people's full story. Look up nice versus kind, right? All right. So this is what he came back and said.
Before y'all say it, I didn't delete the video. The video got taken out, which is fair because I literally told you guys to me. So the other two videos I did take down because I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody with my videos. I still think what I was trying to say got misconstrued with the lack of context, but nonetheless, again, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, so I apologize. With that being said, I think I'm gonna take an indefinite hiatus, make some decisions. But yeah, best wishes to all of you.
Yo, when I said the men and women were brutal, they were. I can't play any of it because I'm not gonna. So, a rule of thumb for me is that under. wait. There's so many thoughts running through my mind. Why everyone talk about the lack of context but don't ever provide said context? Anywho, that's neither here nor there. Why y'all drove this man off the internet? wait, girl. Someone straight up told him you don't look. Anyway, I won't repeat any of it. Like I I don't feel bad. I really don't. And the reason I don't feel bad is like you literally came out with that much vibrato talking about you don't want to hear it. If someone is nice and you don't want to date them, you're not nice, cursing. I'm sitting there like, girl. So you're just gonna leave this up? All right. Well, he went on an indefinite hiatus, so that's not on that. I'm sorry. What I want to say, I can't. I have a career. I have a career, and I'm sorry. I'm not about to do it. So, period. Good for him. Whew. Men don't think of women. Oh, did I say this? My general rule of thumb is that under all the memes and jokes, there is an actual human being. And so, like, I'm not gonna just like I'll pile on in my own way, but my video on its own will not just be disrespect. It will be hopefully thoughtful to some extent with me laughing through my thoughts. However, I am not here to say give him grace. I am not here to say those people were wrong because you called out and they answered. You sent the bad signal and TikTok was TikToking. So, period. Men don't think of women as people. So it never occurs to them that women have specific types, desires, or different levels of compatibility to others. Yeah. Yeah. That's the problem. That it is necessary does not mean it is sufficient. And I feel like that should be a slogan. If I had merchandising, I would put it. I would put that on a merchandise. This is something I learned taking the LSAT. Yeah. Let's be honest. Keep it a stack. We don't say let's be honest over here. We say keep it a stack. Both men and women lie and tell men their attractiveness doesn't matter when it does. Yeah, I mean, people keep talking about men don't have to be attractive. All they need is money. And I'm like, all right, all right. You keep saying that. You keep telling men that they don't have to be attractive because last time I checked, women had eyes. Someone said Tim is thinking he's cool with his slangs. Y'all come to me for cultural relevance. I keep my thumb on the culture and I know what the next young people thing is gonna be. We just here chopping it up. If you're only nice to women you want to sleep with, you're not a nice guy. Watch how men treat women they aren't attracted to. It tells you a lot. Exactly. Someone said they. Oh. um, Black women stop playing Pokemon. Woo! Woo! I'm done with the chat. We're too similar. Oh my god, we're the worst. I just realized like we're just like the worst. You don't have to catch them all. Fairest, you're in timeout for the rest of the live stream. You are. You definitely. Yeah. You are. Black women, stop playing Pokemon. You don't have to catch them all. Be more comfortable with being by yourself first, please. Pokemon. Well, did you make this up, Fairest? If you let me know if you made this up, because if you did, if this was all you, this is like you're that girl. I don't know if you're a girl or a guy. I say you're that girl. If you did this, you're that girl. Because period. He looks like an no, 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 not Trump. Trump said no. A nice guy in my family was complaining about chicks not having morals anymore, and then said, I was trying to talk to this OnlyFans girl. Wait, let me stop. Wait. They're just get snake who wish to be viper. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to get over Pokemon. Like, I'm trying to get over Pokemon. Thank you all. All right, let's get back on track. So first things first, I'll eat your brain and I'm gonna start rocking gold teeth and strings because that's what a monster do. Here, Joseph Milan. All right, so the nice guy trope is ridiculous. Don't claim yourself to be the nice guy. If you do, not that you are bad, but just know that it might be a red flag. Other than that, guys, go forth and conquer. All right, let's get to a pastor lady that I just discovered. And I was sent a TikTok video with a song on it, so I had to go find the original video. And it's interesting on many fronts, on many, 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 many fronts. I am sitting here and I'm watching it, and it came from a gentleman who wanted me to understand what men are going through. And I don't know why people think I don't understand, because apparently I am not a man. Well, is it the bangs? These are not even bangs, but period. I feel like y'all don't think I'm a man. So period. All right. So they said, I want to show you what men are going through. So I'm like, all right, period. I had a lot of women in my life, so maybe I over-identify with women. So I want to see what men are going through. And they sent me a clip, and I found the original thing from TD Jake's channel, and Dr. Phillips, I think her name is. I don't agree. All right, I'm going to play what she had to say because this is what they wanted me to understand. And sorry for the slurping.
Anger can aggravate those conditions. And this is especially dangerous for our men, because men are more likely to fight their way from depression to anger. Because depression is not a good look on a brother. That's how we say, that's what we think. And so while people will accept us as women kind of laying back and, oh, it's me, and they think there's something feminine about that, and it's not, it's still depression. But our cultural perspectives don't accept that from men. So depression can hide among women with social stereotypes about them being emotional, but it can't hide with men because it'll look weak. So he has to fight his way up off of that depressed couch. And the only energy he can use to defend himself against your attacks on his masculinity is to fight his way out of depression into a fury. And here we are, with our men dropping like flies, with life expectancies at the bottom levels in this country. Because anger is literally shredding their bodies and their immune systems and their productivity, which is also so related to how many men define themselves. So if anger is snatching both their productivity and their physical strength, gosh, capacity.
All right. So we're going to rewatch, and I'm going to pause, and I'm going to try to analyze. All right? Because I think this can be very, very misleading. Right? So let's go at it again. But this time, let's pause it at her points and go over them.
Corruptible. And so anger. And anger's tough because we be right about some stuff. I ain't say you was wrong. I just said you was mad. And anger will wipe us out. There are very few disorders in the DSM. The DSM, that stands for the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
I'm going back some, by the way, because I want you guys to get the full context of what she's talking about. I don't think she's completely wrong, but there are some implications about what she's saying that is very interesting. So let's do it.
Disorders. It is the book produced by the American Psychiatric Association in which we list all of our mental disorders. There are 297. So it's a big book. But there are very few that directly speak of anger, intermittent explosive disorder, but very few. But what is known is that in at least 32 of the major disorders, anger or irritability is a symptom. And so anger undermines our mental health in terrible ways. And anger undermines your body. Anger lowers your immune system's function. There are some physical disorders that are associated highly with anger. Chronic headaches, digestion problems.
By the way, the diagnosis and explanation here is spot on. It's spot on as far as my therapist understand and agrees with. So I only brought it back this far because I don't want to just jump into the part where I disagree. I'm saying she does have the education and she seems right in terms of what she's talking about when she talks about direct diagnoses. And that's not from me, that is from my therapist who I made watch part of this because I'm not about to come here and fight with her on her job. So I'm not about to do that. But what I can do is when she started talking about men and the implication there. So that's where we're going to go. So I only brought it back so that we get this part because I do think it's important.
Particularly unexpressed anger. You've swallowed it, and now you're having digestion problems, literally. You don't have irritable bowel syndrome. You are angry. I'm gonna just toss that out there. And of course, there are legitimate cases of IBS. Don't email me. But many of us, emotional issues are disrupting our digestion. And because I'm big on telling on myself, I tell you, I remember several years back, I was sitting there watching TV and one of those commercials came on.
Yes, so Robobo, because all we talk about now is the YouTube, is YouTube.
All them symptoms, and I was like, that sounds like me. And you know what my response was? I didn't go to the doctor. You know what I did? I laced up some sneakers and I started running. And the system got better because it's one of the ways to process emotion out of your body. Movement. So digestion problems, abdominal pain, insomnia, high blood pressure that doesn't respond to medicine or food or exercise. You in tip-top shape and still got high blood pressure. Skin problems like eczema, heart attacks, and strokes are all associated with anger. Anger can aggravate those conditions. And this is especially dangerous for our men because...
All right, so here we go. Everything she said up to now was correct. As far as my therapist is concerned, I have no parts in that. But let's talk about the social implication and who agrees with what and when. Because what is important for me is the unsaid parts of what is happening. So let's do it.
Because men are more likely to fight their way from depression to anger. Because depression is not a good look on a brother.
Says who? Says who? Why aren't men allowed to be vulnerable in their emotion? Says who? And if you say women don't engage in this kind of behavior, I will say you're wrong and you're lying. Women also chastise men and boys to be more quote unquote manly or masculine or whatever. But men set that culture. Men set that culture. Men remove other men from their communities who they believe to be too, quote unquote, in tune with emotions outside of anger. Don't put that at anyone else's feet but men. If we're thinking about patriarchy and the creation and enforcement of rules within patriarchy, you don't get to blame that on women. You don't get to make men the victim, even if they are of a system that they created and perpetuated. That is absolutely wrong to do. Now, does anger cause this issue? Yes. Now let's get into what these issues are. Depression look good on women. No, it don't. Oh, she's not there yet. Let's continue. You are trying to take responsibility for men's behavior. That seems odd. That is an odd thing to do. To infantilize a group of men is weird. It is weird to think that women should be responsible for men. Like, that is weird. While simultaneously saying that they should submit to these men. That is weird. Depression does not look good on anyone, man or women. Now, if you're saying women are willing to go and talk about it because it's more accepted, why? It can't just be culture. We need to talk about who sets the culture and how the culture should change. But the shift that needs to take place for men to be able to really lean into their emotions and go seek the help that they so desperately need, because apparently I'm not one of them, so I'm saying them, it is going to require rethinking leadership and power differential and who has the capacity to do what. It might disrupt some of our biblical perspective, actually. Don't put that at the feet of quote unquote women when men are rejecting each other who show emotions that are not red. Demas, I don't think she's trying to infantilize men, but states how men view depression in our society. Nope. She is not. If she was stating how men view depression, that would be a different conversation. She is telling the women in the congregation that they are the problem for why men can't do it. They're blaming everything else but the men. You will see in a moment, by the way. I know this is a good faith comment, by the way. So this is not an attack. Listen to her words specifically about what happens to these men and why they have to do things and have to engage in certain behavior, and what your responsibility is when you, quote unquote, are pushing them. Watch. She's not saying men are treating men this way. She's ignoring the fact, intentionally, I believe, that men are treating men this way.
That's how we say, that's what we think. And so while people will accept us as women kind of laying back and, oh, it's me.
By the way, when she say people will accept us as women, she then highlights in that moment the group to which she's talking, whom she's talking. She's talking to women now. She is talking to women about men's anger. Watch.
And they think there's something feminine about that, and it's not. It's still depression. But our cultural perspectives don't accept that from men. So depression can hide among women with social stereotypes about them being emotional, but it can't hide with men because it'll look weak. So he has to fight his way up off of that depressed couch. And the only energy he can use to defend himself against your attacks on his masculinity.
Against whose attack on his masculinity? She, who do you think she is blaming? Because apparently I am missing the point here. Because I thought on the fifth listen that I was correct on the first listen, but I could be wrong. I didn't ask my therapist this, so I didn't have a second ear. She seems to be suggesting that men are depressed and they're not getting help because our society, not each other, are pushing this therapy on them. Honestly, I don't think Western society in general accepts anyone's depression. Agreed. But she's not saying that. She's saying it accepts women's depression, but not men's depression. I've been functional depressed for years and just now got help. The world didn't care. Yeah, no, for a lot of women, the world doesn't care either. But there is some truth to the fact that women are able to maneuver better because other women are telling them maybe you need to get help. The problem isn't that women aren't like women. Literally, there are therapists online, black women therapists saying black men need to go to therapy. Like there is a ton of them. They got canceled, dragged, got kicked out of their practice. Like it was a mess. But women aren't the ones, by and large, as a general matter, in terms of critical mass, telling men not to get help. Men are doing that to each other. Men are talking about the standard for masculinity. Men are talking about not being weak. Men are talking about not showing emotion. Men are saying that men are logical and not emotional. Men are saying women are too emotional. Men are stepping away from therapy. Men are telling other men that they cannot sit with them if they're quote unquote feminine, i.e., show emotion. Men are not talking to each other about how they feel, rather, they're dragging women. That is their problem because apparently, again, I'm not a part of it. I am, by the way, just to be clear. And even if you say the culture, they're the ones that tell men not to do it. They don't get any excuse. And so when she says he has to get himself up off the couch because of you and you attacking his masculinity, no other men are attacking his masculinity.
Movement. So, digestion problems, abdominal pain, insomnia, high blood pressure that doesn't respond to medicine or food or exercise. You in tip-top shape and still got high blood pressure. Skin problems like eczema, heart attacks, and strokes are all associated with anger. Anger can aggravate those conditions. And this is especially dangerous for our men because men are more likely to fight their way from depression to anger. Because depression is not a good look on a brother. That's how we say, that's what we think. And so while people will accept us as women kind of laying back and, oh, it's me, and they think there's something feminine about that, and it's not, it's still depression. But our cultural perspectives don't accept that from men. So depression can hide among women with social stereotypes about them being emotional, but it can't hide with men because it'll look weak. So he has to fight his way up off of that depressed couch. And the only energy he can use to defend himself against your attacks on his masculinity is to fight his way out of depression into a fury. And here we are, with our men dropping like flies, with life expectancies at the...
Why are you just saying men dropping like flies? Please explain why men are dropping like flies. Please. Please explain why our men are dropping like flies. Because I do think this is an important conversation to have. Explain why. You won't. Whose responsibility is it to take care of men, grown people. Let's not just say men. Who's like, you're talking to women, and this is what bothers me. This should be a sermon directed at men, telling us that we need to seek therapy. It should have been that easy. Stop blaming women and trying to make women take on the ownership of men needing to go to therapy to go deal with depression, which is real, and anxiety. Tell them to get help. Stop blaming the women who are going to therapy in your mind. Like, this is how bizarre it is. It almost feels like there is not a reasonable expectation of action, because you would need to tell the man something that they need to do.
Bottom levels in this country. Because anger is literally strategy he can use to defend himself against your attacks on his masculinity.
That is not the only thing he can use to defend himself against any attack against his masculinity. There is a number of other things he could do, including going to therapy, including not getting angry at each other and unaliving each other. Like, there's a lot. Let's hear this part again, because that's annoying. The only thing he can do to defend himself from your attack on his masculinity is anger. What?
With social stereotypes about them being emotional, but it can't hide with men because it'll look weak. So he has to fight his way up off of that depressed couch. And the only energy he can use to defend himself against your attacks on his masculinity is to fight his way out of depression into a fury. And here we are, with our men dropping like flies, with life expectancies at the bottom levels in this country.
Okay, by the way, that's just statistically not true. Life expectancy is not at the bottom levels in this country. I don't know if she meant that life expectancy for Black men in comparison to other men is at the bottom. That statement would be accurate, or at least more accurate, as opposed to saying life expectancy is at the bottom in this country. Implies that you're comparing it to other countries. That's just not true. It could be comparing it to other time periods. That's also not true. We're in a time where you are most likely to die be unalive from overeating, from suicide, trigger warning, than a homicide, unless we're like narrowing it down to the Black community. Like, the statement needs a lot more explaining. Like, life expectancy is at the bottom levels in this country on its own is meaningless and also inaccurate in its most direct sort of application and understanding. So I don't know what that means. I mean, she might be just being hyperbolic.
Because anger is literally shredding their bodies and their immune systems and their productivity, which is also so...
No. It's not people's body being shredded by anger that's like killing them. It's literally like homicide. From age 1 to like 40, the leading cause of death for Black men is homicide. It's not, and it could be anger being expressed, but it's not anger destroying their bodies, causing sickness. Like, sickness is not the leading cause of death for men, like 0 to 45, like 1 to 45. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Related to how many men define themselves. So if anger snatching both their productivity and their physical strength, God.
Not anger snatching their physical. Sorry, this is so not true.
We got to do something right away. Stony ground. Stony ground. One more kind of ground.
So, most people would argue that anger can be a motivational thing, that it can animate you into action to change your circumstances. Anger can be used in a lot of different ways when it's externalized appropriately. Anger is, in a lot of people's mind and my own, an emotion, and all emotions are valid. It's the expression of said emotion that is important. I feel like my therapist was very clear that it is okay to be angered and angry. It is what you do with that feeling that is important. It is how you engage with the world after you've been angered and you get angry. So, this idea that anger itself is the problem is not completely true. Now, I get what she's trying to say, but it can also be a fuel. I am angry at the position of, let's say, people facing homelessness. That anger should animate some kind of action, right? I am angry at the way my life was. So hopefully that anger did animate some kind of action to change it. I am not saying we should just reimagine anger. I'm saying that we can engage with emotions in healthy ways and unhealthy ways. And the idea that you're angered and therefore you are now going to have to do this or this has to happen to you seems a very limiting way to view emotions. And she's a therapist. So that's all I'm saying. And I'm going to end her video there and get into some super chats. Is there men in the congregation listening, or is it only women? I think there's some men, but you, as the stats has shown, men have stopped going to church essentially, and it's mostly women. So she's speaking to mostly women, but I also think she's intentionally speaking to women with her word choice. Didn't black men get that black women therapists fired for telling them to address their mental health? Yeah, that's yeah. I should have read these super chats because I wouldn't have to make commentary. What about the angering behavior of men too? Right? Oh, but your anger and showing of anger would not be valid, right? Why would you be angry when you all are making so many excuses for these men? I don't get it. That don't make no sense. This lady and Iyanla are more afraid of the Shmenz retaliation than to help women and girls fly. I'm gonna play Iyanla's video. Sinji did a cover, and I think I saved Sinji's thing, so I'm gonna play it from Sinji. Let me know if it's okay. I'm gonna play part of your video where you were addressing this. This makes sense to me now. It is anger that has them captive on the couch, not the PlayStation. Not me getting a headache. I wish more men would talk about hegemonic and subordinate masculinities so they could actually discuss their problem instead of attacking women, right? I mean, to discuss it is one step closer to like dealing with it, and the dealing with it part might be a lot more difficult for a lot more people. But yeah. So no one told her it's women who die the most from heart disease, right? So no one is telling her that women are dying from like all the issues she's putting on men, while men are actually dying from each other. Homicide. My uncle finally went to therapy, finds out that he has PTSD and ADHD. Oh, good. Now that can be treated. See, I guess she's okay with their attacks on women. I don't understand the sort of fully the biblical approach. I'm working on a blog post and I'm trying to get it posted this weekend. If you're not on the blog, please subscribe to the blog or read the blog or whatever. But I'm posting something about religion, and I am stepping back on the idea that I shouldn't talk about religion publicly. I'm going to talk about religion publicly, and I'm going to find Christian apologists, um, because I need them to debate with me, not for me to win, but I need to be convinced that there is reasonable sort of rationale around Christianity, so I don't have to turn my brain off every time I try to engage in my own faith. And I don't care about your opinion around me and my own faith. Let me say that again. You can stay in the chat and cry that I am not Christian all you want because I question the religion. It is what it is. Your opinion of my faith does not matter to me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have questions, comments, and concerns about my faith, and I will continue to have them until you can provide answers. And telling me to pray about it is not going to work. No. But I'm going to use my platform, hopefully, to lead people to God. And that is, I'm going to be debating people who are Christians because I want them to convince me on a rational, sort of logical level that there is a reasonable argument to believe in God outside of my faith. So that's that on that. Demas, you forget that Black men are in a state of perpetual arrested development, especially emotionally. So they make every woman their surrogate mothers. I feel like the way that it's almost like women are saying, I want to be like that like you should be their mothers, right? Like it's almost like they're so angry. We need to like take care of them being angry. And I'm like, these are grown people we are talking about. These are grown people who should be taking care of themselves. Like, I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand this. This is a good question. When he married, get a life insurance policy on him. No. Wait, so this question is not a super chat. But because people are mad, like, why are you putting stuff up that are not super chats? I try to find everything that I can to respond to. If you aren't convinced, will you denounce Christianity? I don't know. One of the things that's animating me the most about my faith is the fear of hell. It's the fear of hell, and I think I knew hell more than before I knew where I lived. Like, I knew of hell in the way that I was raised. I knew of hell before I knew the place I lived in, or I knew anything meaningful, right? So I don't know if it is possible. I've let go of my faith and said I'm agnostic before. Even when I started on here, I was more agnostic than Christian. And then I became Christian again. But it's like, it's hard. Like, it's hard to say I am not Christian. I don't think I can ever do that again. But I feel like if I let go again, I'm done. Because like I have to close my eyes and shut off my brain. I feel like every time I'm like reading the Bible or engaging with a pastor or anyone on here, it just always feels very antagonistic because like I'm really like, I don't understand what you're saying because that does not make sense. Like and people are like, oh well, you are just a human, you can understand God's plan. And I'm like, okay, well, that means that I shouldn't pretend like I do. So I can just go out and say, yeah, that don't make no sense to me. No, you can't say that because you're like, what do you mean? So like, I'm supposed to lie that I understand and agree and all of this makes sense? Like, it doesn't to me. Like, I literally just tell people like the Bible is like an allegory. Like, I just don't know how to fully engage. Look, if you know a Christian apologist, please let me know. If you want Christian apologists, try my Winger Smart Christian channel and pins with. Ruslan is a good in a pinch too. So I don't know if Ruslan would agree to this because I feel like he's not a debater, so I wouldn't consider him an apologist in the strictest way. But I don't know because he and I have never debated on anything. But I want it to be a debate where I am putting up what I believe and why I think what you believe is wrong, and I want you to convince me because I would love more than anything to say everything that I've given up about myself in saying I want to be a good Christian is ultimately worth it because I don't know if I can live another 30 years of my life thinking these specific rules should apply to me. When I don't even believe fully in the Bible, but I believe in God out of fear of hell. Like I no. So I'm thinking through this, and the more I think, the more I'm like, no. All right. At what age does black men need mothering to end? From the moms to the wives and the side chicks, like when will it end? Not the side chicks. Not the, not the side chicks. Go back to TJ's looking like an overfed. No, you wrong. You wrong. I saw that white sweat. Stop. Stop. Y'all play too much. The world is upsetting for black men. Anger can manifest as motivation to make a change. She is implying that they are impotent while wagging her fingers at black women for emasculating them. All right. Oh my God. This is a perfect summary of what I'm thinking. This is a perfect thank you concern. I wish the panel was open and you'd said this exactly like this, because this is legitimately a perfect summary of what I'm thinking right now about that video we watched. I'm a devout Christian. God can handle your question, and He wants you to want Him for Him. Praying for you as well, Themis. Thank you. I do want to get some apologists on and to like really convince me that my reasoning is capable of understanding at least enough God. The direction to therapy. Fury says, TLA, Fresh and Fit, Tate, Angry Man, O'Shea, we only need one more to have all 7 Dragon Balls to make a wish for the manosphere to disappear. Girl, haven't you seen the manosphere imploding? Just imploding. Black women are to blame for black men's homicide, right? That's all I heard. Unless she don't know what the leading cause of death is, it don't make no sense to me. I gave up on religion whenever pastor, imam, or male clergy member knew a good man for me on my first day at their church or mosque. They wanted to marry you off quick. Themis, I'm praying for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I only accept good pride. As if I can accept. Call Pastor Quickweave. Who is Pastor Quickweave? 27 Steps to Heaven. I'll look this up. I don't know who Pastor Quickweave is. Is that wait? Oh no, you out of pocket. No. No, you did not. I know you did not just do that. All right. So oh my God. I can't believe I feel dumb. I feel really stupid just now. I all right. So more on these men. Let me play this.
Just watch the video, look at the comments, and I'll come back for further commentary.
The one thing we forget is that the better we are as women, the better men can be as men. The softer we are as women, the stronger they get to be as men. And when we are their soft place to fall, they stand with a different height and a different posture and a different elevation. One of the challenges that we're facing right now is that women want men to be their girlfriends, and men come home to find another dude.
And listen, we already know that the comment section is full of clown shit because the comment section is full.
Now, Sid, no, I can't play her video. All right. Sinji's on timeout for this. But the comment section is actually the most interesting part of this video. Even if women believe themselves to have this kind of power, okay, fine. You have it. You can change men. Your belief in men, your willingness to either be soft, sweet, and submissive will change him into being good or bad or whatever. Maybe you believe that. If men accept this, what are they saying about who the leaders are? Because I'm confused. On one hand, you're saying, submit to me. Submit, 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 right? On the other, it's saying, you dictate who I am and how I show up as a man. It feels inconsistent. It feels odd to be like, yeah, men can only change if women make them change. Like, women have to make them change. Women have to do something to make these men change. And it's like, what do you mean? I do have a comment on this, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone because I'm going to open the panel, and when you guys come up, we can have that discussion, because this is one of the discussion I think that we should be having together as opposed to me opining, because maybe women actually do believe that they are to be blamed for men. So it is what it is. All right. So before I open this panel up, let me say quickly, I heard the critique. A while ago, I had a debate. It wasn't a real debate, but Afro Butterfly, Tiff, and some other people from my Discord, we came on live and we were arguing whether or not Krishan and Danae, I almost lost her name, Danae should be treated, quote unquote, the same, right? And in our conversation, I said they should not be treated the same. I completely stand by that. Can the gays come up this time, or are we still on track? No, the gays can come. the gays can definitely come up. The gays are welcome. I am here for the gays to come up. I don't know what's happening with my hair. Anywho, so apparently there are people critiquing this and saying that Themis doesn't understand. Themis wants women to not be treated the same. Themis does not want to give grace to Krishan. Themis is talking about being palatable. Themis is mean to the women. Themis is bullying the women. Themis is. All right, that's fine. I won't play any of the video because I don't it's not an attack on anyone. Like, I heard, it's fine. I just don't understand how you can watch that video and not get what I was arguing about. I was arguing about the treatment. I was literally saying that you do not treat someone who is showing violent tendencies and who have been violent the same. You cannot treat that person the same as you're treating someone who might be depressed or going through something but is not showing violent tendencies. I am not telling you that you have to be palatable. I am not telling you that you have to behave this or that way. I'm just merely stating a fact that you will, and in my opinion, should be treated differently if you are violent. If you hit me, you go to prison. If you don't hit me, you don't go to prison. There is nothing hard to understand about that. All right, so let's get into it. I made, because I was like, let me go through. Maybe I am wrong. So I did some clippings.
She curled up. Is she?
I did some clippings, and at so many points during the conversation, I explained what we were talking about. So even if you said, "Oh, the debate was so long and meandering," I made clear all throughout this what we were talking about. So let's go back in time a little bit and let's play some of these.
She curled up and she took it.
That's not the problem. The problem is, how do we treat someone who curls up versus how do we treat someone who not only fights back, because self-defense I would be all for, but also drags everyone, beats everyone. It is important that I did say that. Hey, I'm not saying you shouldn't fight back in self-defense. I'm saying you shouldn't be attacking other people. Someone said, why is Destiny on the thumbnail? Destiny's on the thumbnail because he made a video that I decided right now that I'm not going to go through. But, yeah. One fights everyone. Those are two different things.
I'm going to need you to flesh out treat. And then I'm going to also need you to be able to separate.
Treat is how we talk about and deal with.
And then I'm going to also need to be able to separate what the person is doing versus what they're receiving. It's like when we're speaking about Danae, because she's in the status that she's in now, we're only looking at it like as a post-mortem care situation. Like, okay, all those things happen. Now she's able to speak her truth, and we just see her as this more.
All right. So in the beginning, I definitely said we're talking about treat. I then explained what treat meant after Afro Butterfly asked me to explain what I meant by treat. So I did. All right, here we go again. So
the other point that I said against
that's the second part that got me. The part where you said verbatim in the Discord that they deserve grace the same way, should be treated. I asked you specifically, and this is when I went silent, if they should be quote unquote treated the same way, and you said yes.
And I mean treated as far as empathy.
No. 1 second, Afro. Why should they not?
They should not be treated the same way, because if you are acting violently, you deserve to be treated differently than someone who is not. I don't see how this is a problem. Afro Butterfly has already conceded to this point.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to play probably 2 more, but there's at least 10. Look at the top. The statement is useless unless you are... Look at the top. There are so many points at which I cut this out, making it mean something. That it manifests different for certain people is, yes, we agree. And that's why we treat people differently based on how trauma manifests for them. I don't understand where we disagree.
I think we disagree that I feel like even though they're both victims, and yes, although Krishan is both a victim and now a victimizer as well, that she gets inherently no grace or no acknowledgement of her being a victim from you. And for me, that's a problem. fundamentally. You don't. It
I
seems as though you
acknowledge
don't
your.
see.
Wait, go ahead. Sorry.
It seems as though you don't see her as a victim at all, and you're automatically trying to slide into punitive territory, like, oh, she's hitting people, let's just do that, without acknowledging that she's been pushed to be in that state sometimes, or she's in a very vulnerable state right now, especially being pregnant. And did she choose to keep
the statement is useless unless you are making it mean something.
got into that in the Discord as well? And then we started talking about
publicly arguing with anyone who believes that because you can leave, you're not a victim. I am not doing that.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say.
Wait 1 second. I think the
harming herself, and it's very possible she's harming her children. So we don't have the mechanism in place to.
All right. So what I'm gonna say here is, if you watch this and you did not know what I was saying, I don't know what to tell you. There are so many other links. I don't know, like the links goes on and on. I cut it so many times. I went through however long this thing was, and I cut every time I could see where I was explaining what it meant in the beginning, all through the middle. At the end, when we were wrapping up, I reminded everyone what we were talking about. We were not questioning or arguing about whether or not they were the same Black women. I don't know where that idea came from. No one was doing that. We were talking about the treatment of these two individuals. That is it. That is all. I think the issue is Themis is a lawyer and Afra didn't. Issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. Yeah, her stance. LOL. And I think we already agreed that there was like a miscommunication about what treatment means. That's the furthest I can go. That is it. But yeah, the issue, the rule, the analysis, and then the conclusion. Period. And by the way, I do still use Iraq before I go live. I don't say it explicitly, but I think about the issue, what rule would apply, if the manosphere rule apply, what it looks like, and that would be the analysis, and then the conclusion would be a whole lot of mess. So I use Iraq still because I think it's a very useful tool for like just generally. It's super weird watching famous Black women slowly contoured into clowns like Anna Moore's cover. No. Demas, you really are a beautiful, handsome man. Thank you. I think so. I think so too. I actually think so. You know, I don't know something. I like the fact that I'm very handsome with very Black features too. As a Black woman, I want to say, what more do you want from me? Y'all boys, I need to work on my country voice. I'm gonna drop the link in a moment. Let me drop the link now. I think Afro Butterfly was saying something like she wanted to come up. The thing is, I don't want to argue about this because I feel like this is like a deeply emotional topic. And I am not giving it the kind of grace it needs because I am very stuck at like one thing. And I just don't want to hurt people's feelings because I don't think that's right. But what I'm not going to do is just acquiesce to acquiesce. Like I've said this before, and I think a lot of people don't actually believe me on this. I am not the person who just agrees to agree. I will go against the entire chat and my entire channel. Like I will do it. If I think it's wrong. Like I'm not someone who's just like, oh my God, you can come use my platform to do whatever you want. Like I will tell you you're wrong. My integrity is more important to me than my platform. But Also, I'm not one to run from a debate. I'll run. We bloop, bloop. And you're so modest. Period. Modesty does not live here. You know those people who are like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, but they only say it to people who they don't think are beautiful. So as soon as that person says or agrees that, like, yeah, I am beautiful, I believe myself to be beautiful, everyone is like, oh, well, we weren't saying you were beautiful. You you're not that good looking. We're just saying it to help you with your confidence. Girl, don't do that with me. Please don't do that with me. Because I already believe this. I already believe this about myself. So yeah, my head cannot get any bigger or smaller. It just can't. Um of course they stand at a different height. They're standing on black women's back. Boost give me a boost head. Not give me a boost. Put me up there. Thank you, Yazzie. Can you bring Ianla on your show? I don't think she would come on, and I think she would want. She would probably try to. Yeah, I don't mind. If she wants to, I would. Men want women to be unpaid actresses so they can cosplay as men. Yazoo, I know where you live. I'm kidding. That is not a threat. I know how weird that sounds. I actually don't know where you live. That was supposed to be a joke. No name. Welcome to the membership. What is Biden's plan to stop Zeus Network? I actually want to know what that is too. Because Zeus Network out of pocket, there was a show people were telling me to go watch. I can't tell y'all the name because I'm not about to promote that kind of degeneracy here. I watched one episode. Oh, I told y'all about this. I don't know. Maybe I did. I downloaded Zeus because I wanted to support a black network. I went on there and then I said I was disgusted. I was like, wait, how can something be worse than like love and hip hop? Like, how? How is this possible? I deleted that immediately. I downloaded it immediately. Mm-mm. I don't care how much. I don't care how much I want to support black businesses, which I do. I'm not about to pay for Zeus. Mm-mm. Zeus Network putting in overtime to overtake black evil television. No, BET. So apparently, was it BET that had like a fight between Jocelyn something Des Hernandez and it's not Black China, it's the other one like Black China. Oh my God, my brain. She has a tattoo in her head. Oh my God. Amber Rose. Amber Rose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't follow these people. Oh, let me drop. I thought I dropped the link. Not me, like, where's everyone? I thought, so I mean, Afro Butterfly, you can definitely come up. I don't think we need to debate, but just note that people are saying that I'm mean to you, and I don't want to be mean to you. So I'm going to try my best to not be mean to you. Um, I'm not your superwoman. Period. Oh no. Even in wait, what is it? Even in that clip, I'm trying to finish and the interruption. No, we don't agree. I even said the same as for empathy. Princess Stan, you have a minute. You're muted if you're speaking.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. So I wanted to mention, I saw a video not too long ago, just a short, where this girl was saying one of the reasons that there's such a high homicide rate with Black men is because Black women will send Black men to fight on their behalf. And so I just think it's really funny that now you're showing this video of like, is this a new thing that now Black women are going to be blamed for the one thing I thought they could not blame us for? So I just
The
wanted
fact
to
that you thought they could not blame you for it is a problem. Have you not been paying attention? They're going to find a way.
I thought this was the one thing, but I was wrong.
Can you send me that video, by the way? Thank you so much. Is your name Princess Stan by accident, or are you doing a play on?
No, I just thought it was funny.
All right. Thank you. All right. Happy Friday. I don't know your sign, but every day you give Leo. My sign is Sag. I am a Sag. Natim is saying he will windmill the entire chat. Yeah, I'll be fighting by myself for myself a lot. All right. Afro, go ahead.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Apparently I'm mean to you and I've been dragging you across Beyonce's internet.
Hey, no, I'm here for a good dragon. It was not about, or even now, for me to come up is not about me trying to win an argument. I think you and I this is our 7th discussion about this now, because we've talked about it off screen a number of times. And I've already arrived at the conclusion that we're just speaking from 2 different vantage points altogether. Specifically on the word treatment, the way I was using the word treatment is in the way that, there's a task that needs to be done, and I'm going to execute that task the same way. So if there's a fire burning over here, I'm going to put out the fire. If there's another fire burning somewhere else, I'm going to put out the fire. How those 2 fires are put out, maybe you'll need a different amount of trucks or a different amount of hoses or to attack those different fires differently. Yes, you and I were using treatment on 2 different levels. I think earlier today we were talking about, I'm using it on the action level. So for Krishan and for Danae, I'm saying I'm going to treat them the same by extending grace and empathy to both of them. You're using treatment a level down from that, as far as, one might need XYZ, the other one might need ABC, especially if one's being violent, And even though I've conceded those things, I think the conversation wasn't able to progress because I'm still applying the definition in the way I'm applying it, and you're applying it in the way you're applying it, and we never came to a consensus and move forward. And I think you had issues with the way the conversation was going. I had issues with the way the conversation was going, and it became very circular from there. And from the times that I did get to a point where I'm like, okay, let's just sit it down. We're not going to progress from this. You have this need for precision, which I appreciate in so many other realms and facets, even when it's directed towards me. And the conversation broke down from there. I got very frustrated because I felt like you wanted your vantage point or your definition to be the way that we're operating out of, when this was very conversational to begin with. But it's like you're almost framing it as though your usage or your application of the word is the correct way, when that's not it for me personally. And I think Tiff and I were sort of operating from the same vantage point of, these 2 young ladies have both been abused. How they exhibit or show their reaction to that trauma may wildly differ. Maybe Krishan's far more physical. Maybe Danae is far more introverted and internal with how she's manifesting, but they're both going to get the same extension of grace from me. They're both going to get the offering of treatment from me. Those things may be curated and tailored and unique to them. When I go down a level, sure, their treatment, how you want to use that word, might differ. I acknowledge that, but that's not how I was applying the word. And then there were a few other things that we didn't even really get the opportunity to discuss. I kept saying, specifically in relation to abuse, I think by that time we even got to the abuse discussion, we were just exhausted. I think we were like 3, 4, 5 hours in at that point. But I kept saying, not only is abuse on a scale or a spectrum, because no 2 people are coming at it with the same level of intensity. Krishan's 10 of her punching people, say she's having an episode and she's punching people, sure, that might be 10 on the physical abuse, is a bit different than
Danae being in this relationship with this man for over a decade, and then years into it choosing to have children and being in that state and possibly being negligent and having her children around that kind of environment might be a 1 on the negligence scale. It's on a scale or a spectrum for me, is how I was viewing. And even if we disagree on that, I feel like how I was trying to clarify my thoughts and move forward in the conversation couldn't really progress, because there is this thing that you do which might be necessary or applicable in other realms, where you like to interrupt mid-thought. Even in that brief clip that you played, I heard myself say, I'm talking about the same as far as the extension of empathy, and then you just kept moving forward with your definition. Like, it's okay if we don't agree or see eye to eye on something, but to steamroll it and then to progress forward with the conversation is, I think that's sometimes where the word disingenuous may pop up, and not in the sense that you're just trying to have the conversation go your way, so to speak. But I think we talked earlier about why you interrupt, and even if you do feel it may be warranted, sometimes if we are having a conversation or a topic that is as sensitive as abuse, or is as sensitive as some of the topics that we're talking about, that sometimes a clear thought needs to be able to be had. And I'm not dragging Themis. The chat's always on 10. I twerk in the chat too, so I'm not even going to go there. And it's fine if people have completely different viewpoints and completely different vantage points than me. I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'm just saying, I don't want my thoughts to be misrepresented or mischaracterized. I don't feel that you come in bad faith. I just feel like the level of precision that you have and the way you like to progress in the conversation, sometimes if someone has a different communication style than you, it may seem as though their complete thought can't get out, or if they are trying to reframe how they're speaking about a topic or viewpoint, we can't even get there because a thought gets severed, a thought gets stopped, and then we just have to go the way that you want the conversation to go, which is, that's not having a conversation. That's not even fully being able to have a good faith debate, because we're not even really able to see the vantage point. So if you're saying I wasn't able to clearly define something, yeah, I didn't have an opportunity to. Oftentimes, like even I think in that clip you were asking, when I was saying we need to do 2 things. 1, we need to define treat, and then 2, we need to separate the 2 things, but we didn't even get to that point, because you're like, okay, treat is this for me, and then we're going this way, and I'm like, wait, hold the phone. But that's all I had to say on the matter. As you know, I love you. I love this channel. I love how you do handle these sensitive topics, because I think it's oh so necessary. And I'm open to the dragon. I'm open to the scrutiny. I'm open to the twerking in the chat. I know how this chat is. I know how people are. And I still will die on that hill and stand on that hill. That's how I was using the application of the word treat as an action. I still will extend that grace to those 2 ladies, because I see people come in the hospital all the time. You never know why someone's behaving the way they're behaving. And I bet when someone's in that state, they're going to wish they had somebody who could remove that bias and extend that grace to them. I've had all kinds of patients, from racists to people in full manic modes. I still have to treat them like humans. I still have to treat them with dignity and humanity, and know that they're going to still get the best extension and care no matter what their personal ideologies or what they're going through is. Like, I have to separate myself from that and make sure that they're being taken care of. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that.
Ultimately, it boils down to the fact that we disagreed on the argument we had was about treatment, not whether they were Black, not whether they were women, but ultimately the critique was that we weren't arguing. We were arguing about everything else, and ultimately we were arguing about, should they be treated the same. And even in your articulation now, it's your side of treatment and my side of treatment. So even we don't agree still, it was about treatment. That's the only thing that we were arguing in that moment. Should they be treated the same?
Yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. And I'm coming at it from a more holistic viewpoint. I'm going to extend holistic care to both of them. Inside of that care, is it going to look different? Sure. but I'm going to extend that to both of them. And that's how I was using the application of that.
Yeah. So people were saying we were arguing about whether or not they are the same Black woman, just completely missed the entire debate. And I wasn't trying to frame your position now because I'm not relitigating our conversation. And if I misrepresented your point, apologies, but you got the space hopefully to explain your point. So that was her position. Mine was that they should be treated differently because they exhibited different behaviors. And so we were talking about whether or not they should be treated the same, regardless of what treatment meant to you or regardless of what treatment meant to me. We are talking about treatment and whether or not it should be the same, not whether or not they're the same Black women, not whether or not they should show up and be more demure or how they should operate in their victimhood, whether or not they are victims. We agree on pretty much all of that except how they should be treated in response to their actions. That is it. So, yeah. Do you have
anything? That's it.
Oh, all right, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye. Dahlia, you were having some issues, I think, in the chat with me.
No, and can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I didn't have any issues with you, and I actually came up two things. Number one was to apologize to you because I think I jumped the gun on my original comment about, I think I was coming in defense of I don't know if she's a preacher or speaker or whatever, but you were right. And I said this in the chat, but I wanted to say it to you in person. You were right as far as how the woman was couching her speech. And I tend to think very black and white. And so I've been trying to work on having empathy and grace for people by seeing where there's nuance in a conversation. And that's what I was trying to give to that woman. But I jumped the gun. So that's something else for me to work on, is just to kind of like hold off before I make snap decisions.
No. I don't think you were definitely, if that's what you were doing, then you weren't necessarily wrong, right? Because you hadn't watched and I didn't play the entire thing yet. So if I played pause it and drag, you're like, wait, why are you dragging? I didn't hear that part yet. So like, because I had already watched it like 5 times. So like the discernment that you're trying to build up, I think is a good thing. like
Yeah.
you wouldn't know what she had said if you don't see what she said. Like, no. Yeah. So you're fine.
No, I appreciate you taking my comments in good faith, because they were written in good faith. So thank you for that. The other thing is, as far as Iyanla is concerned, I only know Iyanla from TV, and she was my auntie in my head. She helped me get through a really hard time. And so I didn't know all this new stuff that was going on. Part of me wishes you never showed that video, because now it's like I got all this new information about her. I don't want to be thinking ill of Auntie Iyanla, but I wanted to call in to say this point. I do not like when people try to give power to other people over their own personal emotions.
Yeah,
I read a book called Boundaries. Yes, I've read this book called Boundaries, which is extremely helpful. I'll tell you straight up, it's a Christian book. It's coming from a Christian perspective, but the doctor who wrote it, he had a lot of good things to say about your emotions and your responsibility towards your emotions. Me as a woman, it is not a man's responsibility to tell me how to be a woman. Okay? How I choose to express my womanhood, my femininity, is my own personal responsibility. It's how I choose to do it. You don't have the power to tell me how to choose to move in that space. And so it bothers me that Iyanla, who normally is pretty emotionally intelligent, would say something to that effect. Now, I don't know if she meant to word it that way, if she intended something else, but that's how I think a lot of people took it. And I don't think that that's a good idea to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Completely with you on that. Thank you.
No, thank you. That was the only thing I wanted to say. So y'all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the show.
You too. Please come up again.
All right. Bye.
Hey, Fairest.
Hi, Themis. Can you hear me? Am I coming in clearly?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I've been a
Wait,
long time.
pause. No. I don't want to hear
What?
about me being a long time. How is your voice so small and meek while you're in the chat cutting up like that?
Okay, so like for brief backstory, I can say that like I have a baby face, I'm short and I'm small, and so my mother, bless her heart, she is a very kind, generous person, and my father saw that she was teaching me to be like her, and he was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you go around talking to people like that and giving people so much grace, they will walk all over you. And add on to the fact that in my family, I have a very Southern family. And it's more of the culture in that children are to be seen and not heard. So I have a lot of thoughts about people and the things that I see. I had to say what I wanted to say covertly. So lots of metaphors, lots of sneaky digs.
Okay, so that's how you come up with something like Pokemon.
What else am I supposed to call it when Black women go out of their way trying to fix men? What else am I supposed to call it other than her going around playing Pokemon trying to trap these men in training centers? He does not want to do the work. Most of these men are misogynists. To even be able to take in a woman's pointers, they have to first view them as human beings to think that a woman's critique is anything worth implementing in their lives. It's just not realistic.
Yeah. It's interesting. First of all, like it is a trip hearing your voice with them super chats. Like they do not connect. I would never have assumed this is their voice. So that's the
I
first thing.
thought that I was being nice to the men. I didn't curse. I did not call them out of their name too often.
To be fair though, I say the word drag a lot. Like a lot. But like it's part of me learning new like idioms and stuff. So like I don't actually mean it the way that I use it. Like I don't mean it the way people would mean it, but it's fine. Um but I do actually appreciate your perspective, and most of the time I agree with them. And I think you like it's really smart the way that you like I really like reading your comments, but that is not to say I'm giving free reign to be mean, but like they're not mean, they're just really clever. Like they're like I like a clever super chat. So period.
Yeah, I've been in a master's program for a literature degree, and now I'm extending that into a PhD. And so
Wait. Oh my god, I can vet. I can teach how to vet. Period. Period. Sorry, go ahead.
you can vet, but we can't.
Yeah. Apparently, I just know how to vet. So it is what it is. I'm here for it.
So I have a lot of free time now in between grading papers and things because it's the summer and I'm not so busy with my dissertation now when I get a notification that you have a live, I can actually watch.
Well, we're going to have a live tomorrow going over Queen Charlotte. So I'm reviewing that. Anyway, congratulations, by the way, on going into your PhD program. That is amazing. You're doing great. Keep us posted on that. And please come back up. I feel like we should have like other conversation. I want to have a smoke week where it's not really smoke, but like people come up and suggest better ways to engage.
Yeah,
Ferris,
so
before you leave. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, one last thing. I was just going to say to Themis and everyone else in the chat, remember, read good books and good people to keep your drags on point.
Before you leave, I wanted to say that you are the origin story for the Golden Girls, and you should consider writing for programs like that, because if that's really the origin story, it's like perfect. It's poetic. Please write for the snarky shows like that, because you hit it beat for beat.
Yeah. Someone said the subbies are smart and accomplished. Yes, and I appreciate that. Before you go, Concern, let me read some super chats.
Okay.
Afra was the one that wouldn't allow the conversation to move forward by insisting that non-violent person deserve a greater punishment than the violent person. You can't make up a story to justify your grace for Krishan. I do remember large chunks of this conversation, Kendra. Thank you so much because I've watched that so many times. To not misrepresent her, to not open the debate again, I will refrain from commenting any further on that because on the Discord I agreed that like I'm just gonna not do this debate live again. I mean, I'll debate the Discord live again if they want, but not that specific debate. And we need to set better ground rules. And that's my fault. So I'll take that L. Kendra, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think there are two more. Is Derek to America what Safari is to Jamaica? Safari, ugh. Well, Safari is
No,
not the worst in Jamaica, though.
absolutely not. I just said in the chat that is Tristan Thompson erasure. Tristan Thompson
Oh.
is putting in overtime to usurp Safari as the problematic Jamaican.
I don't even claim them, honestly. It's like they are America famous. I don't claim them.
Team is disingenuous. Oh, question mark. Can he not be mistaken or human? Thank you. Thank you. Period. The last one. That's fine, Themis. I just didn't want her to start changing up again. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Concern. Go ahead.
So I want us to think about the irony that the tenets of the manosphere are what they are, but here's a chance for us to apply accountability. If I can't say that physical abuse, to Chris Brown apologists, verbal abuse to the rappers who say that they're just words and we don't need to take them seriously, and historical abuse, right? Like your past with Bill Cosby. If I can't hold you accountable for any of that, I don't understand what's happening. There's no receiving of accountability here. And I think it's upsetting in a world that we are talking about accountability and throwing that word around, and people are still saying we make men do things. But Black women's health, if we were really triaging the issue, Black women are the ones who they are even complaining are unhealthy, right? They're saying that we have all of these things going on, like out of their mouths, they are constantly complaining about our health. And so if stress is the killer and stress is the reason why these health concerns come up, then you would triage Black women first. And
yeah, but that would only be possible if they believe that Black women have any kind of excuse at all for anything ever.
Right. And I think it's going to be pivotal for the future of Black feminism for us to really take a step back and realize that we're not all on the same page. Even though we are at an intersection, we need to intersect a little bit more, because when we think about the fact that this lady is preaching, right? That's a role by the religion that she's currently spreading was ordained for men. That was kind of literally put there. So in the fact that now we are in a world where she can be on that pulpit and have these lessons, the fact that what she wants to say is this really lets me know that we need to split the hair again. Because even Black women at our intersection, as we all know and have been realizing, are not really on the same page about the world we want to live in, because she wants to talk about this kind of zero-sum game between men and women. Like, anger means that I have to do something with it. Like, these relationships have to be about us passing the buck of responsibility and leadership. It's just I need the writers, the one-liners that Ferris, we need to start thinking about catchy ways to start really dividing up Black feminism in ways that are going to stick, because I don't want her representing me. even though in a lot of ways, even her being there represents progress. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just very upsetting because I think that Black women as a collective are the only group of people who advocate on behalf of someone else. Black women are pioneers in socio-political and cultural writings, most notably advocating for prison reform. Black women are not being arrested like that. Who is that benefiting?
Right.
Like, if these men were actually concerned about helping Black women, if they were actually concerned with the health of Black women, why, when they talk about wanting to vote for political leaders who are Republicans who have all of this money, even though they went bankruptcy like 2 or 3 times, but child, that's besides the point. Why don't they then ask those Republicans to, help implement more daycare centers in their communities? Why don't they ask for funding for schools or to fix roads? Why don't they ask for funding to have more infrastructure like grocery stores and food deserts so that Black women can actually have healthy foods if you're so concerned with our cholesterol levels?
And our weight and our mental health and our pettiness. And I mean, the thing about it is that we're supposed to heal from the inside out, and we're supposed to take on their burden, and then when we have our
Wait. I'm
voices.
turning. Wait, I thought I am so sorry. I'm turning down your mic. There you go. Sorry. I think it
Okay.
was up too high. Go ahead.
Okay. But thank you for warning me. I think that the part that's really hard to even figure out how Black women move forward, it's like Ayanla and women like this who like to constantly point the finger at us are also on a microphone telling people our agenda. And what the world we want to live in, because we had this conversation the other day that a lot of people are looking at Black women being like, so to your point, prison reform, all the above. People are starting to, I wonder, right, if we look crazy saying that we hate that our community is in these situations, but we keep going back to the men who do it. Like we say, send as Black women, you shouldn't arrest the Bill Cosbys of the world. You shouldn't, I'm going to say that you mistreated him when the police officer was pulling him off of you. Like we gotta to find a way to sort through each other.
Yeah. No, I agree with both of you though. Safari and Derek gave us visuals on their D game trial. Miss Jax was live looking distressed. Erica was looking like the Grim Reaper, the same Black man. Y'all play too much.
It's true though, they did suck the souls out of those women. Khloe Kardashian, after she got with Tristan Thompson, every single picture she uploads on the internet, her Photoshop game is unmatched. We know she does not look like that, but she is trying to hide the D-game trauma that she endured from that man.
Not the trauma. Y'all play too much. I do, since there's not a lot of people behind the scenes, you guys can stay on and we can get into the Destiny video that I was not going to play. But since there's not, I thought a lot of people would have a lot more opinion and a lot more people would be mad. But apparently we are on one accord. Echo Chamber up 1 point.
Oh, can I actually drag?
Me? Yeah.
No, whoever on the video.
Yeah. It's not going to be dragging though. It's Abba and Destiny talking about the red pill, but Abba do deserve a little bit of drag because he pretending like he's not a part of building the red pill through Kevin Samuels. But that's neither here nor there. I will see you guys on the other side of this closing as we get into our, what is this thing called? The
After
closing.
show?
I don't know.
The after show?
Yes, that. Thank you.
God, not to be mean to any red pill, or I guess you don't care, but not to be mean to any red pill creators. I'm happy that like the movement is kind of starting to die because I'm so ready for the next thing. Holy shit.
It is pretty boring. I think there's so many times I can hear the same conversation talking points where I'm like, I think I'm done with it. I get people who like send me suggestions all the time. And they're like, can men and women be friends? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Your friends, your mom, sisters, all the women.
Based and true.
You a man in your fucking 30s asking me if men and women can be friends? Like, bro, figure that out yourself. At some point, having the same questions being asked a million times is just
cringe.
If a woman is in danger, is it your job as a man to protect her? So
one of the things that I hate the most is every time they talk about like a man's role, and every time they talk about
Okay, Themis has a little bit of a lisp. I kind of like it. So when I was in a very specific kind of school for very specific kind of people, I was taught specifically to speak a very specific way. And it's very annoying. No, this is not annoying. I appreciate it. Thank you. I love it. Yeah. But I was taught to speak away from sort of UK British English, and the person who taught me was Spanish. And I actually really like that person's voice as a child, and I don't know how to come out of it anymore. So there is a kind of slight lisp to my voice when I speak. I was not born with it. I don't know when it started and how to stop it. I don't know. I have no control over my voice. But yeah, I saw the comment and I thought it was funny because I think my mom started picking up on it when I was like 14, 15. She was like, "Why are you talking with a lisp?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I had no clue what was happening until I remembered my instructor who was teaching me how to have manners, essentially.
like a man being a leader, blah, blah, blah. I always so I've said this like in my debates now for about a year now. I've been trying really hard to always give an example for everything I'm talking about. So if I'm in a debate, I'll say, oh, well, here's an example of this, or here's an example of that. I hate that every single time they talk about like the difference between men and women, it always comes back to like I need to be a leader in a relationship. Well, what does that mean? Well, somebody breaks into my house and I got to tell my girl, you need to leave. I can't have her ask me questions. She's got to run. It's like, what? Or like,
I don't think, by the way, sorry, I don't think I will ever get tired of Destiny dragging. I don't think I will ever get tired of Destiny dragging them.
Destiny is truly like the quintessential blue-haired liberal that lives in their minds.
Yep.
But they gender bend him to a woman for some reason.
Yeah, and he don't care. He dragged them because they all submit to him. Every one of them. All of them go and submit to him, and he drags them.
They go into their soft, sweet, submissive just for him.
Period.
And other white men.
Yeah, Brian. I haven't forgotten Brian out there like, oh my God, how can I learn? How can I be like you? I just want to be. Oh my God.
He's submitting to Ruslan and Jordan Peterson.
Yep.
Whining about why women don't want to date him. Well, you just spent the past 25 minutes aggrieved because they have human rights.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I do have some respect for FD Signifier. I do have not a lot.
Do you, Themis?
No, because I would have a lot of respect for the FD because I do think he's smart. I would if he challenged these men. Like if he did, that's the one thing I would want from him. But the fact that he stands up and he's not like bending the knee, begging someone to be his friend, I appreciate that. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that.
Even Andrew Tate is like, what does it mean to be like the man to be responsible for women? Well, if we've got to walk home and there's 7 alleyways to choose and 6 of them have assassins, I get to choose the one that's the safest for us to walk. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, is every single part of your life like built around combat? Like, what the fuck? Jesus.
And the funny thing for me is like, why do they keep going to the most extreme scenarios to justify everyday life? Like,
yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like, are you waking up in the morning and it's like, hold on, I heard like something. I don't know if it was the stove Or 7 assassins trying to break into my house. Let me go check. Stay here in bed. Like, Jesus. It's such a gotta be just, yeah, I don't know. It's so fucking stupid.
It's just weird to be like, all right, why? Women got to do chores. Why? Because if an intruder breaks in and a gun's pulled,
yeah, I can't be doing laundry.
Do the dishes, you whore.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's just dumb too. Imagine if women start talking like that. Like, listen, my husband does whatever the I say. Because if I'm about to give birth and I'm going to put my life on the risk,
yeah, true.
Life at risk, giving birth to this baby and potentially dying, as 14% of women do when they give birth.
Yeah,
and I want to choose where the fuck we go this vacation.
The fact that he knows this is really annoying. Abba is. I'm not dragging right now because it's really annoying to me. Like, he does this a lot where he will even say, I knew Fresh and Fit were racist or like they were anti-black rather, when they were dragging black women. But why are you only talking about it now when you and them are in a fight? Right? Like, why couldn't you say, this is what I don't like. So like, even these ideas, it's like, so when you're on Destiny's channel, you can come up with it and you can talk with him about how terrible those people are. But like before that, you were like deeply invested. Like, I don't like that. It feels two-faced. If you believe what you believe, you should believe it everywhere you go.
I agree. I think that ultimately, because Abba and also partially Preach, they in large part built their audience by courting these types of men.
Yeah.
And now that they essentially inundated themselves in this circle where it's essentially just men who are in a perpetual state of arrested development, like I said before, they're all looking for daddies. And so, yeah, they're going to ask you, like, what does it mean to be a man? How do I take care of a woman? What does it mean to do this? Can men and women be friends, daddy? Like, obviously, they're going to ask you all of these questions because that's the kind of audience that you cultivated for yourself.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is that they think that they're so cool and alpha and they're coming up with all these terms. Even within their community, they think each other are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they give each other very, very little pushback. I don't think that he really has the right to complain about the congregation of balding body belligerent men when he himself said a lot of the things that they can agree with.
Yeah.
And they have a huge audience of like how many subscribers? Like 1.5, 2 million by now.
I will not forget that Abba definitely said he was going to go do some research on divorce so that he can come back, and child custody, so he can come back and debate Destiny. I haven't seen that happen yet. So
It's just very weird. Like the solution, the answer is very simple. In a system created by men, why would women typically be saddled with children? Because men don't want them.
yeah, like I feel like the fact that we're even having a conversation now about like men and children, and men are pretending like they want children by and large, is absolutely absurd to me. Not only is it absurd, it's literally anti everything that they talk about. Like, you literally point to the fact that women raise children. You said 3 things women are supposed to do include 1, raising the children. I don't understand how you gonna sit there and talk about, oh, it's unfair because men don't get their children. Y'all literally said that's what women are supposed to do. Even in your mind, you would build the same world we have today where women get the children because you said women should raise the children. What do you mean? Like, none of this makes sense. Like, well, they know it doesn't make sense. That's why it's imploding. So I can't wait for Abba and Destiny to have this debate because
Like
it's not going to happen.
If they're so upset that in their minds, like even just pretending that this scenario happens broadly, let's say that there is a woman who has children with this man and she decides, no, I don't like you anymore. I'm going to keep my children. I'm going to keep you away from them. That hardly ever happens. But in the scenario that it did, you can go petition the courts And even if you felt like it wasn't a worthwhile like system to partake in, you could still, I don't understand what is this push against men dating and courting single women who have children then, if you're so desperate to be a father to children.
I asked um a guy who I was talking to on Instagram. I think we had the conversation because he really wanted to explain me how I was wrong, but he not about to come on this stream to do it. And we had a conversation, and he was like, I wasn't even thinking about setting a trap or tricking him or anything. Um, I said, okay, so why wouldn't you date a single mother, right? Because he was like agreeing that he's advocating for men not to be stepfather. Like, why would you need to advocate for that anyway? So he was like, yeah, because the dad can be involved, and I don't want that trauma, and the child might not see me as his father, and he's already built a connection with his real dad, and the mom and dad might get back together, blah blah blah. So we talked, and he thought I forgot. And then later in the conversation, I said, okay, so I realized most men don't want to date single mothers, but do you think most men would date a single mother who was married and didn't have the child but adopted the child? And he was like, oh, yeah, that's different. And I asked him how, and he couldn't explain. But I know how, and I know why. And it is about the woman's body, and it's about judgment on the woman's body. I think it's an interesting thing because I didn't even think about it in this way until that moment where it's like, when they say used car in their description, and then they go on to talk about how the dad might still be involved and how the child might not actually be theirs, none of that. It's not that at all. These people are disgusting. A lot of the people who engage in this conversation are doing it from a very disturbing and what I consider to be disgusting lens. And it's about the woman's body and who gets to um, create life, let's put it that way, with that woman first. And I think a lot of the men think that they're quote unquote marking their territory when they have a child. So it's not even about like, oh my God, I'm taking some men. It's not about like just having a family. It's about, okay, she has my child, now I can move on because that's mine now. And that's how other men see it, I think. That's what I deduced from our conversation. All right, go ahead.
And you also have to remember that a lot of dudes freak out when the mother of their child moves on and have this weird possessiveness of the mother of their child past when they are tired of the relationship, besides whether or not she was the main, the side, or any of the rest. So I think you're right. And I think, even if you're trying to get to be the first, or you already had it and you don't want it, but you don't want anyone else to have it, it shows up again and again because there's still violence towards exes after you guys have broken up. Like, people still expect sex from their baby's moms, even if that's not the nature of their relationship.
Yeah. Can I find this video? There was a guy who was talking about how the man carry the life. The man give the woman the life to carry, and the man is the seed. And all I could think about was, you know what? I feel like we
Oh,
should
the
even.
storks took black men out the home.
I know, like I was really thinking about it. I was like, do you know the implication of saying you carry the life? You are the one who create the life, and the woman just carry it. Like the implication essentially mean that first and foremost, abortion laws probably should apply to you, and whatever you do by yourself, because you can't be wasting life like that if you believe.
Black men want to be seahorses so bad.
Like I can't. Let me just continue. Akon said it too. Yeah. Let me
There's
continue.
one more thing that I want to add, that all of that we all just said a couple minutes ago is exactly why I said that if a man really wanted to, he would. Like
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 3 children. And my parents divorced when I was a baby, and I saw my dad all the time. He used to drive by our house on the way to work and come and see us for hours. When he had to go back to his home country and he couldn't make phone calls, he would write each of us personalized letters every week with dates. There's no reason why, if you want to be in your children's lives, you can't.
Since we're not like these men are not about to debate me anytime soon, I was waiting for someone to bring back up that stat about black men being the most involved while also crying about how women are keeping them away from their kids. Like, I'm just very fascinated by these positions. Because if black men are the most involved fathers, right, then it should be a minority of men who are being kept away from their children. So, like, even then, you are conceding that it's not enough. Like, it's not a lot. Like, you are just fighting a dead point. And if you want to, then we can get back into like femicide and everything else that you think are so minute that they don't require any acknowledgement. Because no. So, I think this is interesting. All right, let me play this some more. There's not much more left.
Yeah. Bruised knuckles? Excuse me, have you ever heard of preeclampsia? You don't know what you're talking about right now. The only reason you're alive right now today is because some woman risked her life to bring you into this world. Like, bro, I want to see like a crazy feminazi, like a crazy red pill, like go at it with like this autistic shit.
And most of the guys talking are people who've never had a life and death situation. So I have no idea.
I know, yeah, that too, yeah.
They're all talking about what responsibilities they have as if they've already assumed it and they're ready to do it. Like, you've never even been in that situation. Why are you talking like that?
Mm-hmm. And like, are you really building your whole life around these that most people, honestly, most people in their entire lives are probably never going to be like in a life or death situation where they're confronted with another person trying to kill them. That's probably a pretty, even in a major city, that's an exceptionally rare thing. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's dumb that they use the most extreme examples to just talk about everyday life.
Yeah.
Hey, should women and men divide the home responsibilities equally?
Oh, one of my favorite quotes from last night is they were talking about like every woman in life basically gets a free ride for being a woman, but for men, even if you're trying your hardest as a man, you might get punished for it. And one of the quotes was, "There's plenty of smart, attractive homeless dudes out there." I'm like, bro, they're probably not that many. Okay.
The thing is, it's just not true. I know so many.
All right, I'm so annoyed because even I wish they had taken that a bit further, because like not only is it the reality that it's not true that there's a lot of smart, attractive homeless guys out there. There are women who are experiencing homelessness, and by their logic, all women can have access to men who will take care of them. So there shouldn't be homeless women, right? Like the logic isn't making any sense. And that's where I'm going to end. I wanted to watch more, but I'm tired.
Maybe the problem is that they think that there are more women who are hobosexuals like them.
No. The frustration, Destiny, I don't feel like Abba is actually frustrated. So it is what it is. That's my opinion. I'm sticking by it. But I do think Destiny is like annoyed, not because of the content, but because like the viewership on talking about these topics are going down because the manosphere has essentially imploded. And I think he might be a big reason. When he went up against Rollo Tomasi and Rollo could not explain himself, they lost a ton of legitimacy. But the Black Manosphere has not been doing anything like meaningful. All these men have to pay for all these kind of courses, and none of these men are actually trying to help them. You have to
now
shell
they're
out.
going overseas and ruining other people's communities.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting though. I'm not saying people shouldn't make your money, but it's so weird to be like, I want to help men. You have to pay me $5,000 for this. I'm serious. These were like, I will forever, ever laugh at the men in the manosphere paying the women who they claim they should not trust, and they are red pill and they understand women. It's weird that they're in the manosphere claiming this while also paying the same women in the manosphere $500 for a consultation about nothing. That is the height of irony for me. That's
And then
like
after
legit.
spending all of this money on Andrew Tate's whatever the hell courses that he's offering, they then take their 3 dusty trash bags on Spirit Air, and then they go to all these other countries. Like, I've been approached by a passport bureau. I didn't even know that that's what it was. I Part of my family is from Panama, and so I was on the beach with my family. I'm approached by this man, bald with a beard. I'm not typecasting, I'm not profiling. I just think that it's a very interesting consistency. And he basically tried to proposition me for something, and I was very like, there are
No.
escorts who advertise themselves on beaches. Like, that is something that happens. But at that point, it's just like, no, no, you are a dusty, overweight Black man. You're not going to get a traditional woman in Panama, especially a non-Black woman, because you're a Black man, so she wouldn't even speak to you, realistically.
Isn't there like a ton of racism? Because like colorism, I think, in most Latin America, I guess that's Central America, country that I've been, there's a lot of colorism. Like, I feel like the
Oh, yeah.
colorism in the Central slash South America, and even in the Caribbean too. Like, let's be clear. I feel like the colorism that exists there gets swept under the rug.
Oh, yeah, because of phenomena like the notion that we need to advance our race forward.
Yeah, so there's a white, like a
Yeah,
lightning.
mejorar la raza.
Yes, 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 yes. This is kind of that. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people from the Caribbean, Central America, South America. I feel like we should discuss colorism in those areas, because I feel like sometimes the conversation gets stuck in the US, not intentionally, but based on people's interpretation. Because everything I'm saying applies to Jamaica. Like, I think if we were ever mistaken, please note we are not. Like, Jamaica is included in the conversation, and
Yeah.
Jamaicans, men are included. They will have multiple families.
Yeah, like I have light skin around the color of like Cassie, maybe. And my father, who is Panamanian, the Panamanian parent, is much, much darker than me. And so I remember being told that when I was born, that my father did a good job because I looked like my mother.
Ooh. Hmm.
So that's and there's also the weird phenomena of like, I'm aware that I'm not a very hospitable person. I think that people believe that I'm being mean to men. I don't think I'm being mean. I think they need honesty. I tell men the truth because I care about them as human beings, just in general. But it's a very weird phenomena that in Latin America, when men approach me and they're being rude, when they approach me and they want to be polite or nice, then I'm morena. But then when they're angry at me, they call me negra.
Yeah. No, that thing that they said about your father is really sad. Um, I've n- my cousin was told not to play outside because she's already too dark. Um, by a really terrible. She's not my real aunt, but like neighbor who we call aunt. So yeah, I feel like these we should probably get into these conversations sometime, like, because it's actually really disgusting.
It was
Um,
probably exacerbated because my mother is a Black Creole, a Black Louisiana Creole. And so all of her family, I love my family. They are very colorist. And I remember hearing like whispers growing up that like of colorism from extended family, that my older brothers who are darker than me were unlucky, but I was not. because I ended up looking more like my mother. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, had to shut all of that down. So it's sad. And then to go online and see people like Fresh and Fit just perpetuating the same problems, acting as though like any white or mestiza or trigueña, like that they would want to associate with them in any context outside of money.
That's the bargain that they create and perpetuate. They are also mad by. Like, how are you going to get mad at people for wanting your money when you're literally saying, I have money, come get it because you have beauty? Then they're going to get it. And when you reach 50 and you're dating a 21-year-old and you're sick and she's like, okay, I'm out, I don't know why you were concerned. You thought she was going to stay there and take care of you. You forgot what the deal was. Like, you literally forgot the deal.
Exactly. Like, I think that a lot of the problem is also that now in very recent years, there is a conflation between marriage and love. And people believe that if you marry someone, then you love them. I personally believe that love doesn't really have anything to do with marriage. I can love people. I'm not going to align myself politically or legally to you and bind myself to anybody else in that way. And so they think that just because they create this bartering system with women, that women are supposed to upkeep their part of the bargain and they're free to do whatever they want, because they also believe that there's this weird cabal of women who are inciting other women to get divorced from men so that they can get alimony or something. Like, if you go out of your way to wife up an 18-year-old fresh out of college, you don't want her to work, you don't want her to get an education, and then she decides that she wants a divorce, you create a situation for yourself in which, yeah, you're going to have to pay alimony.
Yeah. And sadly, not a lot of people get, less than 10% of people get alimony. And so they don't even have money to give out.
That's why I believe that Rollo Tomasi is very smart. I believe he was correct. I fully endorse his message. I think that they should get snip snip. I do not think they should reproduce because
Well,
every day they go online and prove sends you right.
I
Even though they
disagree that
agree.
they should be snipped, but if they want to go around and sleep with people and don't want the consequence, then that is a good idea. Yes.
I mean, they act as though these women are their mothers. Essentially, they're gods. They go around thinking that they do not have autonomy over their bodily functions. If you cannot even control who you have sex with, what control do you think you can assert over a household?
Agreed. Many men like to litter their, and it's not incongruent with wanting to be a feather, or that they carry
No,
life.
they're sentient sperm banks.
No,
They
Ferris.
are. I'm being, oh my
No,
gosh, famous.
People from India talk about colorism there too. Yep, being fair skin is most desired. They promote bleaching too. Yeah, I think I feel like it's a lot more pervasive than people think, but I just always assume that a lot of us already understood this, but like a lot of people don't. Like, I heard Charlemagne talking to Amara La Negra, I think her name was. And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, what do you mean colorism? What do you mean colorism? And Amara was like, if you watch the soap operas, you will see that only one image in Latin America gets promoted. It's like, what do you mean? I don't understand. And either he's like actually like ignorant or he was just playing dumb. And as I watched it, I think yesterday, it was an old interview, but I was rewatching it. As I watched it yesterday, I was like, wait, did he really not, does he really not know, do people really not know this, like that colorism is not just like an American, black American specifically thing, like it exists. Colonization took place. White people were set as the standard of beauty by propaganda. Like, do we not know this?
I think that I part of me believes that more Black Americans that we should travel.
Yeah.
But another part of me is afraid because I have
Passport
encountered Black
Bros.
Americans who travel.
Passport Bros up 10 points now. Smoker the lawyer said they don't know Themis. Yeah, I didn't know that people didn't know. Ferris, by order of the crown, you are hereby summoned to every live from now on. Queen Charlotte demands it. No.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. No. You are welcome. Everyone is welcome. Thank you all so much. Any final nice words?
I have been very nice, Themis. I have been very cordial with the men. But yeah, I think that honestly, men should hold each other accountable more often. And it's not as though men do not know how to hold each other accountable, because I have witnessed firsthand a man wear pink sweatpants and be jeered and mocked for being gay. What do you think that is?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a negative attribute of patriarchy that we're in, but that is holding men accountable. If more men would tell other men, you're a deadbeat father, I'm not going to associate with you. You are abusive to women, I'm not going to associate with you. You do these things, I don't want you in any part of my life. You are excommunicated from the boys' club. If more men would do that, it would solve a lot of problems, because men ultimately do a lot of the things they do for the approval of other men.
Agreed. Who was it that was talking? Was it Yanni? Someone was talking about the homosocial bonding. And I feel like we do need to get into what that is, what that means. I feel like that needs to be explored some more, because um, we need to discuss it. I think we should discuss it, since people's sexuality keeps coming up so often. I feel like people should discuss it. In any case, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of you all. I was gonna have a longer live stream. I have to admit this. My PowerPoint got deleted or disrupted in some ways, because I was talking too much on the Discord while working, and I clicked something and my PowerPoint just, yeah. Hopefully women cut off sexual access to these men. Thank you. Valerie says we can add classism and nationalism in the Caribbean. If I'm honest, in the Caribbean, marry a Black American man would be considered a bad choice.
Yeah.
We need, we'll talk.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to structure this conversation, and we'll have that conversation. Thank
yeah.
you all. Go out and order rice and peas and oxtail tonight. Live it up tonight. I'm going to go rewatch some Queen Charlotte and prepare for our live stream tomorrow. I don't know when. I'm thinking about doing it later, but I don't know. Also, no one is going to convince me that the prince is an actual prince in the Little Mermaid. You're right. You're right. Like, your right to the throne can be in dispute, and if that woman, anyway, it's not fair.
Themis, why are you trying to drag him, Themis? Let him have his little throne.
It's not him.
If the kings can be kings without usurping a throne, so can he.
Talking about that, which country in the Caribbean, which island has a monarch? A local monarch.
Are there any with local monarchs?
Let me look this up, because they said it took place in the Caribbean, so I'm gonna look. I don't remember this. And I know it's fantasy. Please don't drag me in this about fantasy. All right. All right. So they're talking about Bermuda. The King Charles. Girl, I'm not playing with these people.
But yeah, Themis, I do love your show. I have been a long time supporter of you, like I said before. I just think that you should be a little bit harder on the men, because I think that they need to toughen up some more. If they want to buy into patriarchy, you buy into it all the way. You need to toughen up and pull yourself up by the bootstraps, because then they encounter people like me. And when I'm being honest, I hurt their feelings and I make them cry. And it's not to me.
Yeah, I'm going to Turks and Caicos. I'm going to go learn some history there. I won't be tougher. I'm trying to be softer on everyone. So we'll see what happens.
Are you going to use reverse psychology on them so that your soft, sweet, submissive can get them to be men?
Apparently that's what Yana said, but I'm not the one to do it. Y'all need to do that. Anywho, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Ferris, for coming on. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful. Someone said, "I completely believe you made someone cry." I believe that too. Have a wonderful night. Love, love, love. Bye.
Good night.